Hello, welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. The first piece of major silverware is up for grabs this afternoon as Chelsea take on Liverpool at Wembley in the League Cup final. Chelsea have found themselves in the final after playing at home in all the rounds up to the semi-final, and in the last four they had to come from behind at Stamford Bridge in the second leg after a 1-0 loss in the first leg to Championship Middlesbrough, winning on aggregate by 6-2. For Liverpool, they've had to beat Leicester, Bournemouth, West Ham and Fulham to get to this year's final. The semi-final against Marco Silva's Fulham saw a 2-1 win in the first leg and a 1-1 draw in the second leg, which booked them a place in today's final. Chelsea come into this game off the back of an impressive 1-1 draw at the Etihad against Guardiola's Manchester City. And for Liverpool, they were in action in midweek as they defeated Luton on Wednesday by 4-1. This is the 197th meeting between the two, and it is the third time that they have faced each other in the League Cup final. Chelsea won the first back in 2005, and Liverpool won the last one in 2022 after a penalty shootout which ended 11-10 in favour of the Reds. So for the 2024 League Cup final, will it be Pochettino and Chelsea or Klopp and Liverpool to take home the first major trophy on offer in English football? It is a game which is starting to be seen as like Jurgen Klopp's goodbye tour. They're in 4 competitions. They are top of the Premier League. They're in the final of the League Cup, still in the FA Cup, which they've got to face Leeds at home in the week, and also they are in the last 16 of the Europa League. So it is very busy times for Liverpool in terms of their search for all 4 trophies that they are currently involved in. But for Chelsea, they are also still involved in the FA Cup. That is still a possibility for them, but they have worked themselves into this final. And they've beat some decent sides in their run. Chelsea had to beat League 2 Wimbledon in the second round and then got beyond Brighton in the third round by a 0-0 through Nicholas Jackson. Then the fourth round they took on Blackburn and won 2-0. And then the quarter-finals, that was a close call. They were about to get knocked out by Eddie Howe's side, but a 92nd minute equaliser from Mikhailo Mudryk gave Chelsea the lifeline of a penalty shootout, which they went on and won. And for Liverpool, they joined a round later because they were involved in European competition this season. So they played Leicester in the third round, winning 3-1. Then Bournemouth away in the second, which they won 2-1. A Darwin Núñez screamer in that one to win them the game. And then in the quarterfinals, they absolutely battered West Ham 5-1. Goals from Szoboszlai, Gakpo and Salah, with 2 coming from Curtis Jones. And in the semi-final, they went 1-0 down in the first half with Willian scoring for Fulham, but turned it around 2-1 in the second half. And then a 1-1 draw was enough for them at Craven Cottage to book themselves a place in this final tonight, this afternoon, should I say, with a 3 o'clock kickoff, as both sides, Chelsea and Liverpool, enter the field of play, being led out by their managers of Mauricio Pochettino and Jurgen Klopp. This is the 14th time that these two managers are coming face to face, and for Jurgen Klopp, he's only been defeated once previously by Mauricio Pochettino. And against Chelsea, Klopp has a good record in terms of final wins. He has faced Chelsea in the Super Cup final, a League Cup final and an FA Cup final, and he's won all 3 finals on penalties, which is very, very interesting. These two sides met in the League Cup and FA Cup final in the 21-22 season, and they were both 0-0, and they were both determined on a penalty shootout. Hopefully, fingers crossed today, we don't get a 0-0 and we get some more goals. But it'd be nice also for the dramas of a penalty shootout. So let's see what we get here. But as mentioned before, these two sides have met twice previously in a League Cup final. The first was in 2005. Chelsea won 3-2 after extra time. Liverpool took an early lead in the first minute through John Arnorisa. And then later on, Chelsea equalised through a Gerrard own goal. But then in extra time, Drogba and Kezman gave Chelsea the 2-goal lead. They were pegged back by Núñez for Liverpool with 7 minutes to go, but it was enough for Chelsea to see that final through. And then in the next final, in 2022. It was 0-0. It was Klopp against Tuchel at the time, and it was an 11-10 win for Liverpool on penalties. Everyone scored except Kepa Arrizabalaga, who skied the ball over the crossbar and into the celebrating Liverpool crowd. So let's hope we don't get a 0-0, but it looks like there's a very real possibility of penalties in this one. But we had more goals in this fixture this season. They played each other for their first game of the season. It was a 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge. Diaz putting Liverpool 1 up, but then Disasi equalising before half-time. And then the most recent meeting between these two in early January saw Liverpool come out 4-1 winners, with goals from Jota, Bradley, Szoboszlai and Diaz, with one consolation from Christopher Nkunku. So it's definitely a fixture that Liverpool have preferred in recent times. Chelsea have not beaten Liverpool in the last 8 games. Their last win was a 1-0 away win at Anfield in March 2021. So in terms of statistics and facts and history of the fixture, it does lean more towards a Liverpool win. But this Chelsea side have definitely started to show signs of improvement in the last month or two. What I've seen anyway from Chelsea games I've covered most recently. They were really impressive last week away at Manchester City in terms of a defensive display. They were quite unfortunate not to go away with all 3 points in that one. They defended very strongly. So it does seem to be coming together. And for Liverpool, they have got 9 players out. They're missing Matip, Bajcetic, Szoboszlai, Salah, Nunez, Alisson, Jones, Thiago and Jota. They are missing so many key players, and it does mean that their bench is very young and doesn't have a lot of experience. They will not want this game to go to extra time. That's why I think the Klopp will not want, because if it goes to extra time, he'll have to start introducing some of these younger players that he's got on the bench, and that could be a chance for Chelsea to maybe get control of the game. But we'll go through both sides now as we're edging closer to kick-off. We'll start with the Chelsea lineup, and it is Djordje Petrovic still remaining in goal despite Robert Sanchez returning to the bench. Gusto, Disasi, Colwell and Chilwell as a back four. Ben Chilwell, today's captain for Chelsea. 2 holding midfielders of Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Just in front of them will be Conor Gallagher. On the right is Cole Palmer. On the left is Raheem Sterling, who's a 5-time League Cup winner. And leading the line up front is going to be Nicholas Jackson, who's got 9 goals so far this season, one of them in the League Cup in the 1-0 win against Brighton in the 3rd round. For Liverpool, it's Caoimhín Kelleher in goal. He may have still played if Alisson was fit, but Alisson is injured, so it's definitely Kelleher starting today. Back 4 of Conor Bradley, who's in for the injured Trent Alexander-Arnold. At left back is Andy Robertson, and 2 centre-backs of Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk. Holding midfielder of Endo, and in front of him we'll have Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch. On the right is Harvey Elliott, who made appearance number 100 in the week against Luton for Liverpool. On the left is Luis Diaz, who has got the 1 League Cup goal this season, and that came against Fulham in the second leg of the semi-final. And up front, leading the line for Liverpool, is Cody Gakpo, who has scored in every round so far in the League Cup. The only game he didn't score in was the second leg against Fulham, but he did score in the first leg. So he has scored in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and the semi-finals for Liverpool. And they are missing the likes of Salah, Jota as well, and Nunez. That could have even been a front 3 for Liverpool if they were all fit, but Klopp is having to work with what he's got and what he's had available to him, and it should be a real booster for Chelsea. The fact that Liverpool are missing so many key players, it should be seen as a way of getting their confidence up and, you know, using this as a chance of winning and believing that, you know, realistically, within how injuries go, they're probably playing the weakest Liverpool side possible, especially their front 3. It's a very strong front 3, let's not get that twisted, but we know how good Nunez has been this season compared to last in terms of him taking his chances. Salah, we just know how ridiculously good he is. So I don't think Chelsea could have faced a more weaker Liverpool side with the amount of injuries they've had. I mean, obviously the weakest Liverpool side they could face is if everyone was injured, but with 9 players out, and the 9 players which are out, it has left a rather weak Liverpool side in terms of the squad. Like I say, their bench, just to go through the ages, they've got Adrian at 37, but then after that they've got 21 years old, 26 through Joe Gomez, and 27 with Tsimikas. But then after that they've got 19-year-old, 19-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 18-year-old. That, I think, says it all. It's a very inexperienced bench, and Chelsea need to take advantage of that if the game goes on longer and Liverpool may be forced into changes. But at the end of the day, as a starting 11, it is still very strong for Liverpool, and it gets to a point where it almost doesn't matter who plays where. When you're such a well-oiled machine and you play so in such a certain way, it doesn't really matter who fits in where. It's still the same outcome for Liverpool, as they are the two starting 11s. Who will take the trophy home? Chelsea have lost their last 5 finals at Wembley. They lost the FA Cup 3 seasons in a row from 2020 to 2022, and then they have also lost their last 2 League Cup finals in 2019 against Manchester City, and then most recently in 2022 against Liverpool. As we do kick off, the referee today is Chris Kavanagh. Liverpool kick off, kicking right to left, Chelsea left to right, and the ball goes straight out of play for Chelsea after a diagonal switch from Konate towards Gakpo, goes over the Dutchman's head, and midway inside the Chelsea half. On the near side, it is a throw-in through Gusto. Gets the return from Caicedo, plays a ball across to Gallagher, touches it into Fernandes, and then moves it out to the left to Chilwell, who's got a bit of room to run into, goes beyond the halfway line here and plays a ball down the line. Can't quite find Sterling, cut out by Bradley. Inside here to Endo, who be brought down there by Conor Gallagher, and that'll be a free kick for Liverpool. Well won there by Endo, the Japanese holding midfielder who was brought in as Fabinho's replacement in the summer, and it took him a little while to really get gelled into this Liverpool side, but once he did, he's been absolutely fantastic this season. The signing from Stuttgart, just £15.4 million, the signing for the 31-year-old Wataru Endo. As it is Liverpool on the ball, it's going to be Ibrahima Konate to again switch it out to the left-hand side. It's a long ball forward. Diaz jumps for it, header won by Gusto. Caicedo goes back to Disasi, who quickly clears it up to the halfway line. It deflects in the air off Jackson. Van Dijk can't deal with it. It's Konate to come in and clear. It's another high ball out towards Diaz on the left-hand side. Header won by Gusto. Touch inside by Palmer's loose. It can be won back for Liverpool through McAllister. It's now back in the Liverpool half here with Van Dijk. Shifts it to the left back of Robertson, who will drive the ball forward. He's got Gravenberch making a run ahead of him. He checks his run and allows Robertson to advance in front of him. And eventually the ball goes back here to Gravenberch. And it's Liverpool who are on the ball now in the Chelsea half. Just under 2 minutes in. Still yet to have any real chances at goal, as both sides have made 3 changes from their last lineups in this competition. For Chelsea, Thiago Silva is missing, so is Armando Broja, now on loan at Fulham, and Mudryk is on the bench. And for Liverpool, Quansah and Gomez have been dropped to the bench, and they are without Darwin Núñez. As Liverpool have given the ball away, they're looking up front for Gakpo, goes beyond him and through to Colwill on the edge of the 18-yard box for Chelsea. So now with his centre-back partner of Axel Disasi, who scored on his Chelsea debut against Liverpool in that first game of the Premier League season for these two sides. The equaliser in the first half at Stamford Bridge. As Gusto's misplaced touch goes out of play, and it'll be Liverpool throwing on this near side. Midway side the Chelsea half, just a loose touch there by Malo Gusto, who's really made that right-back spot his own since the injury of Reece James. He's been putting in some really high performance shifts for Chelsea. As Enzo Fernandez clears the ball forward for Liverpool off the head of Van Dijk on halfway, and Hardy goes for a Chelsea throwing on this near side on the halfway line for Malo Gusto to take. This is Chelsea's 10th appearance in the League Cup final. They have won 5 previously, their last coming in 2015 against Tottenham's side, which was under the management of Mauricio Pochettino. This is with Petrovic in the 18-yard box here for Chelsea in a full yellow strip this afternoon. Clips out to the right to Gusto, cut out by the head of Robertson, and it's a Chelsea throw-in to be taken by the right back Gusto. Quickly off the mark there, Andy Robertson, who has started 3 of the last 5 games in the Premier League since returning from his shoulder injury, which kept him out from October through to January. Gusto kicks the ball off McAllister, and that'll be another Chelsea throw-in once again inside their own half. Chelsea's last defeat came to Wolves at home at the start of the month, but they are 3 unbeaten at the moment. As Disasi goes long towards Jackson, headed forward by Van Dijk, chested down by Endo, who hasn't got many red shirts available to him. Kicks it off Palmer. Liverpool throwing midway inside their own half here on the near side with Andy Robertson. He's waiting for options of his own here. Still waiting to take this throw in here, Andy Robertson. And down the line it goes, beyond the halfway line, cut out by Disallowed, who can play it forward to Enzo Fernandez. Back it goes here to Levi Colwill, who goes to his goalkeeper here, George Petrovic. Signs Colwill again in the 18-yard box, goes beyond Elliott. Heavy touch from Colwill, loses that to McAllister. Advantage has been played by Chris Kavanagh, but then it's pulled back there. And I'd be quite surprised if that's not a yellow card there from Colwill. It was a very late challenge on his former teammate at Brighton, Levi Colwill. Just a bit of a nervy touch. It was a heavy one, and he tried to make up for it with a lunge towards the ball. Instead of taking the ball, he went straight through Alexis McAllister. And that is a rightly given free kick by Chris Kavanagh, whose last time in charge of a game at Wembley was the Championship playoff final in May 2021 between Brentford and Swansea. So it's in the final third. On the Liverpool right, they've got a left-footed option of Robertson and a right-footed option of McAllister. McAllister was the one to win it. Colwill has gone unpunished in terms of a booking, but he has given away a dangerous free kick here for Liverpool. Chelsea's line is on the edge of the 18-yard box. Liverpool have sent their tallest players forward, the likes of Gakpo, Van Dijk and Konate. McAllister delivers. It's a deep one towards the far post, headed away by Disallowed, and it has to be helped away here by Nicholas Jackson, who's been tackled by McAllister, and he keeps it in on the far side, back heels it straight to Jackson, and it's given away by Fernandez. It's now with Endo, 25 yards out, strong tackle from Caicedo, and it's seen as a foul by the referee. And this one's a bit more inside, not as wide as the last free kick, so maybe an opportunity for a shot here, as Caicedo went in strong and Endo kicked the ball away from the Ecuadorian, and he's gone straight through the Japanese holding midfielder, and he's given away a free kick here. Moises Caicedo, who's making his 10th appearance in this competition. He's yet to score in the League Cup, Moises Caicedo, but we know he's not really known for his goal scoring. There's a three-man wall here for Chelsea, and it's the same players stood over it. I think it may be more fitted for a cross, but there's definitely an angle and a distance for a shot if wanted. It's McAllister to cross it instead. Disasi misses it, goes straight through for Konate, goes beyond the French centre-back, and he actually grazed off his arm. So the referee's given a free kick for Chelsea, and they survived the first real scare from Liverpool, and it's gone without any shots on goal, but they were really pressing up high there into the Chelsea half with 2 free kicks won, and they've won it back already. Elliott's ball inside, cut out by Caicedo on the edge of the box. Now forward to Gallagher, out to the left looking for the run of Sterling. It's a bit of a late run. Konate will get there first, and he goes back towards Kelleher, and it gets to the Irish goalkeeper, and he clears it up to the halfway line. Header won by Chilwell. It'll be headed forward by Endo. Nodded down by Elliott to Bradley. Back inside to Elliott. Tackle from behind fairly by Fernandez. Colwill clears. Out of play, and that would be a Liverpool throw-in just inside their own half on the far side. As Jurgen Klopp has won this competition just the once, and that was in that 2022 final against Chelsea. He has also lost a final in his first season when they came up against Manchester City. Conor Bradley's throwing goes in towards Diaz, who's peeled out to the right-hand side here and lays it off to Elliott. Switches it out to the left to Robertson. It's a perfectly weighted ball, and Robertson latches onto it and crosses it early to the far post where Gakpo wanted it. Diaz took it on with the header, and it's looped into the hands of the goalkeeper. If Diaz had heard the Gakpo shout, it was definitely a better opportunity for the Dutchman. Good cross from Robertson. We know he likes to put those early crosses in on the angle, and in it went to the 6-yard line, and he should have left it for Gakpo. But maybe he didn't hear the shout of Diaz, so he went for the header himself, and it was a header that lacked pace, and it was an easy save in the end for George Petrovic, who's making his 17th appearance for Chelsea since taking over from Robert Sanchez due to the Spanish goalkeeper's injury that he picked up at Goodison Park. So it's Liverpool who are back on the ball, just inside their own half here with Virgil van Dijk, who did play the full 120 minutes in the last final between these two in the League Cup and scored his penalty as he switches it out to the right to Connor Bradley, midway side the Chelsea half, controls it perfectly and drives inside away from Chilwell, and then back on the outside with the pass to Elliott. Now on the halfway line with Konate. Back to the goalkeeper of Kelleher after being pressed down there, Konate by Sterling. And here is Konate down the line for Elliott, who's being closed down by Chilwell, switches it out towards Robertson. It's a bit of a risky pass there by Elliott. Robertson helps it forward. Pass to Gravenberch. On once more towards Gakpo. Cut out by Caicedo. And it's a throw-in the Liverpool half here for Andy Robertson to take. Gravenberch to McAllister. Out to the left to Robertson. Tries to flick it over Fernandes. Deflects off the Argentine. And it'll be a throw-in again for Liverpool. Quickly taken by Robertson to Van Dijk. Now back to Robertson again. Goes across to McAllister. Now back to Kelleher in the 18-yard box. Being closed down here by Enzo Fernandez. Kelleher's clearance goes forward to the halfway line. Cut out by Disasi. Fires out to the left to Sterling. Touch control drops to Fernandez. Dispossessed by Endo, who goes beyond Fernandez and away from Caicedo. Plays a ball forward for Diaz. The control gets away from him. And it's dealt with by Disasi. Nice turn away from the Colombian winger. And it's out to the left back of Chilwell, whose clearance deflects inside towards Diaz, who heads it into the sky. And then it's headed away by Chilwell. And it'll drop to Gravenberch. Bradley's free out wide to the right-hand side, but Gravenberch can't release it in time. One back by Caicedo. Played out to the right by Jackson to Palmer. As we're into the final third here in the Liverpool half, it's Palmer. He's got the overlap of Gusto. He'll play it inside instead towards Jackson. Cut out by Van Dijk, but the ball's still alive here for Chelsea. Gusto crosses, and it comes off Robertson, and it's out for a Chelsea corner. Their first real look at the Liverpool goal in terms of going forward themselves there, Chelsea. Felt like Cole Palmer possibly made the wrong pass. I think Gusto on the overlap in the box was probably the better option, but he was trying to find Jackson instead towards the penalty spot. But can Chelsea score early despite having a lot of pressure put against them in the early exchanges of this game? It'll be the captain Chilwell to deliver in. 2 arms in the air from this near side. In it goes. It's a deep one to the far post. It's a punch away from Kelleher. Falls here to Gallagher on the edge of the box on the left-hand side. Shoving the back there from Diaz. And I believe the free kick's been given, and it has. And Diaz apologises to his teammates there for giving a free kick away in a pretty poor position, really. Yeah, just too aggressive with the shoving the back. He doesn't need to do it, really. Gallagher's not going anywhere. And it's a cross which can be put in from the left-hand side now for Chelsea. As we are 12 minutes in here. They are coming up against the Liverpool side, who have only lost once in the last 15 in all competitions, and that was away at Arsenal on the 4th of February. And for Chelsea themselves, they've only won 5 of the last 10 as well. So it's definitely Liverpool who are the team more in form, but it is Chilwell to cross this ball into the box from the free kick towards Disasi, over his head and headed away by Gravenberch. It's a hit volley by Gusto, pretty weak and tame, straight at Kelleher, who can try and set the counter-attack off quickly, but there was no options ahead of him, so it rolls it out to his right to Konate, who then goes forward long, looking towards Bradley, can't control it, but the touch off Colwill drops back to Bradley, plays it into the path of Diaz on the box on the left, on the angle, can't quite shoot yet, onto his right foot, back heels it into Gravenberch, pulls it back for Diaz, can he work a shot here? Being stood up by Caicedo, shot blocked, I think, by Disasi, and then tackled by Caicedo, whose ball forward is a little short, one back by Endo for Liverpool, and it's now in the centre circle with the Japanese holding midfielder, who can just about keep it away from Fernandez. McAllister bringing it forward, he can hit them from afar, he'll try it from range, and it's straight at Petrovic, who could keep the ball within his grasp, and it is Liverpool there coming the closest. It's going to be a really interesting midfield battle between the three in the central areas for both sides. You've got Caicedo, Fernandez and Gallagher for Chelsea. Then you've got Endo, McAllister and Gravenberch for Liverpool. But Liverpool have won it back. Diaz in the area, shoots. It's a good save down low to Petrovic's right. And Chelsea can hurry it away. Didn't quite see how Liverpool won the ball back there as they were showing replays of the McAllister strike. But Chelsea clearly giving the ball away in a dangerous area. And Diaz coming closest to opening the scoring here in the final. It's Gallagher brought down by Endo. As Chelsea had won the ball back in their defensive third. And it is a free kick for Chelsea. Let's go. We've got Chelsea fan in the chat, who are we backing for this final? If you want to let me know in the comments, I'd be interested to see who's favouring what team. It can be who you think's going to win or who you want to win. As at the moment, it's definitely Liverpool who have been the more dominant side, but Chelsea don't look too nervous. I think the only player for Chelsea I'd say have had nervy moments is probably Colwill at the back. I mean, Gusto had a little misplaced touch as well, but Colwill just needs to try and relax himself if possible. As we're about to hit the 15th minute, and it's still all square at 0-0. Caicedo forward to Palmer, lays it off to his left to Gallagher in the centre circle. Now to Chilwell on the far side. He's not got many runners ahead of him. Out wide, the only real options are to his right. He's been forced to go back here to Fernandes. Now with Caicedo, back to the halfway line to Colwill. And a bit of controlled possession here for Chelsea as Disasi sprays out to the right to Gusto. Great touch to bring it down there. And it's now Cole Palmer. Back it goes to Caicedo. It's now across to Fernandes. Midway side of the Liverpool half. Caicedo dinks it in behind for Gusto, asking too much of the French fullback. And behind it goes for a goal kick. You might remember Moises Caicedo coming ever so close to joining Liverpool until he decided to join Chelsea instead for £115 million after just over a year and a half at Brighton. The possession is actually quite even, 52% for Liverpool, but it is the team in red who have had more shots on goal. Liverpool have had 4 with 3 on target. Chelsea have just had the 1 with 1 on target. As Chilwell gives it away, he knocks over Bradley, and that's another free kick for Liverpool on the final third on the right-hand side. Bit of a communication problem there, I believe, between Disasi and Chilwell. And Conor Bradley was in quickly to try and nip the ball away from the Chelsea captain. And he's forced a foul from the number 21 for Chelsea. And it's more defending now for Chelsea to do. It's been an energetic start down that right flank for Conor Bradley, who's really made a name of himself for Chelsea this season, where he scored his only goal of the campaign against Chelsea in that 4-1 win at Anfield. He also collected 2 assists that day as well. The Northern Irish international. But from this free kick for Liverpool, can they make it count? It's going to be Robertson to curl it in with his left foot. Header won by Fernandes, drops to the edge of the box to Elliott. Goes to his left to Gravenberch, who can get away from the challenger Gusto, but his touch is too heavy and Fernandes can clear it long. It's a chase between Jackson and Bradley, and both of them miss it. It goes behind both of them, and it can be McAllister to sweep up for Liverpool. And it's Chelsea who have to now do some more defending on the ball. It's Liverpool with McAllister in the centre circle. Playing it out to the right here to the number 84 of Conor Bradley, who was a part of the Bolton side who were here in the EFL Trophy final where they beat Plymouth 4-0. So for Conor Bradley, he's gone from playing League One football last season to being a bit of a Liverpool regular at times when Trent Alexander-Arnold has been absent, as a ball over the top there towards Gakpo goes straight through for Petrovic in the 18-yard box. And it's Chelsea who are back on the ball. But for Mauricio Pochettino, he's never won this competition before, losing the final in 2015 to Chelsea, then losing the semi-final in 2019 to Chelsea as well. And again, Chelsea have gone long this time towards Jackson, goes over his head, and it goes straight through for Kelleher, who's just outside the 18-yard box here for Liverpool. It's now with Van Dijk. Forward into the centre circle now for Elliott, who's just drifted into a central area. Goes back to Van Dijk. Now with McAllister. Canate in a right-back position. Forward for Bradley. Can't get around Chilwell. Won back by the Chelsea captain. It's now with Colwill at the back for Chelsea. Forward to Caicedo. Ball out wide. Just about reaches Chilwell after a slight deflection off Elliott. Now Petrovic in the 6-yard box for Chelsea. Looking towards the right-hand side. Goes a bit more central instead towards Jackson. Header won by Van Dijk. Falls to Endo on halfway. It's now up to left back Robertson, who brings it forward into the Chelsea half, laying it off for Luis Diaz. It's now Gakpo, who's not been quite involved in the game as much as Jurgen Klopp probably would have liked in the early exchanges. Cody Gakpo, who's been at Liverpool now for over a year, scoring the 18 goals already. As Bradley strikes from 20 yards out, blocked by Colwill. Loose ball drops to Sterling. Forward for Gallagher, who's had to drift out to the left-hand side, caught from behind by Elliott. And it's going to be a free kick for Chelsea Well won there by Gallagher, who takes it quickly into the midfield to Fernandes. Clips it out to the right to Gusto. Touch in front of him, goes out of play. It's twice he's done that. Needs to relax, Malo Gusto. Just cheap ways of giving the ball away when your touch isn't quite on it. That's now with Alexis McAllister. Through to the right to Bradley, just inside his own half. He goes to Elliott. It's now back to Canate. He's got a bit of time here on the ball. And it's around the corner by McAllister to Bradley. Dispossessed there by Colwill. Fernandes flicks it forward for Sterling. Caught on his toes there by Canate. It's now back with Liverpool with McAllister's ball forward. Over hit towards Gravenberch. Cleaned up by Disasi. Caicedo out to the right to Gallagher. Bit of room here for the number 23. Outside the area. Early cross goes in. Sterling controls it. Can he strike it? Deflects for Palmer. Big save. Jackson on the rebound. It's dealt with by Endo. And away from McAllister. And now that is the biggest opportunity. That is a heroic save from Kelleher. As Elliott wins a free kick towards the corner flag on the Liverpool right. Being bundled down by Fernandes. It was great play with Palmer to find Caicedo. And his ball out wide right to Gallagher. Was into his space so he could latch onto the ball and cross it. And Sterling tried to touch and shoot. And it just got away from the Chelsea number 7. And it deflected across the box to Palmer. Who felt like he had the easiest finish from 6 yards out. But full of power. It's a brilliant save. Should Palmer have scored? Probably, but you cannot take away the quality of that save. Kelleher launches himself towards the near post and gets his body in the way, and Liverpool eventually dealt with it. But that's the biggest chance of the game so far, and it's fell to Chelsea. And it's Cole Palmer, their top goal scorer. He was the one who came closest. He's got 12 for Chelsea so far, 4 in his last 6 in the Premier League. But Kelleher has stopped him there absolutely brilliantly. Diaz in the area. On the left, Gusto goes to ground and wins the ball. He had to as well. Brilliant defending from Gusto. It's now Palmer in the 18-yard box who needs to find the pass. Forward it goes towards Sterling. Misses him and then sliced away by Canate to keep the ball away from Jackson. And it is a throw-in for Chelsea on this near side. How to watch? In the UK, it's Sky Sports. Abroad, I have no idea what channel. As Caicedo switch out to the left, can be kept in by Chilwell at 10 yards inside the Liverpool half. He goes back to the halfway line here to Fernandes. Switch out to the right. It's a high ball, but it's perfectly weighted. And a good control this time from Gusto, who crosses in. It comes off the back of Robertson. Straight back to Gusto, who lifts it in towards Palmer. Headed away by Endo. Flicked forward by Gravenberch. Dealt with by Disasi, lifting it out to the right to Gusto. Heads it inside for Caicedo, and then relays it back into Gusto. Good football from Chelsea. Ball round the corner towards Jackson, cut out by Van Dijk. And it will go out for a Chelsea throw-in. So it's definitely been an even start, I'd say. Both sides have had good chances of scoring. As Palmer gets it back to Gusto, the throw-in taker. Can't get away from Gravenberch. It's now Endo in a left-back position. Goes out wide here to Gravenberch. Back to Robertson, who clears it first time. Up the pitch, where it'll be Colwill to head forward. Into Fernandes. Over the top ball into the area towards Sterling. It just deflects off his head. And into the path of Bradley, who can hook it over his head to clear. And then headed on by Endo. Out to the left to Gravenberch, whose touch just gets away from him, but he can play it inside. Towards Gakpo, who's dispossessed fairly, says the referee. And Liverpool have got Gakpo down on the halfway line. Colwill's ball over the top and out to the left is gone out of play. And also Gravenberch's down. So the two Dutchmen, well, 2 of the 3 Dutchmen that Liverpool have got in the starting 11 are currently down. As Gravenberch played the ball inside, he was just caught a little late there by Caicedo, who was in the spotlight for his late challenges at Manchester City, and his studs have gone right onto the ankle there of Gravenberch, and then the Gakpo one, slight bit of contact with Fernandes, but the Argentine won the ball for me there. But that definitely should have been a free kick, and it should be a yellow card, that, for Moises Caicedo, with the way that he's gone in with his stud showing and catching the ankle of Ryan Gravenberch, who's having to receive some treatment, and he's looking a little bit worse for wear here. And in terms of midfield options off the bench for Liverpool, they're lacking in that department in terms of experience. They've got James McConnell, who's 19 years old, and he's made 6 appearances for Liverpool's first team, and they've also got Bobby Clark, who's 19 years of age as well, who's only made the 8 Liverpool appearances. So they really want Gravenberch to be okay to continue here. Their injury list is already huge. Liverpool, they don't want to add to that with the end of this season running, becoming ever more tense. And the Liverpool coaching staff are really getting into the ear of Tim Robinson, the fourth official. I think Klopp's assistant of Pep Linders is just getting Klopp to try and calm down. But you can understand the frustration there because that's a really nasty challenge from Caicedo, catching the ankle of Gravenberch. So 25 minutes in, still 0-0. And the way Caicedo catches him on the ankle, he places his studs on his ankle and he almost pushes Gravenberch's ankle away as well. So he catches him and then pushes in to push Gravenberch's ankle away. I don't like that challenge, and I do think Caicedo has gone unpunished. I don't think he's picked up a yellow card because I believe the referee was playing advantage when the foul was made. A stretcher is on the field. I really hope that's precautionary. It's not looking good here for Ryan Gravenberch, a two-time Dutch Cup winner at Ajax. And yeah, thought so. Liverpool are not using youth this early on. They're going to bring on Joe Gomez. So they're going to have a reshuffle here. I think they'll push Conor Bradley up to right wing. They'll bring Elliott into the centre of midfield and Gomez will play at right back. I could be wrong, but I think that's what they're going to go for here. Klopp not wanting to use that youth that they've got on the bench, which is understandable because this is a seriously big game and it needs experience heads in there. Can't have too much youth. And that is absolutely devastating for Ryan Gravenberch, who 25 minutes into the League Cup final is being stretchered off with an ankle injury. He made his move in the summer from Bayern Munich for just over £34 million, and he will not be able to see through this League Cup final. And again, Liverpool's injury crisis becomes even worse. So it'll be number 2, Joe Gomez, to come on, a man who still has never scored a goal for Liverpool since joining in July 2015. And it's not the way that he would have wanted to have come off the bench, but they need him here. And Joe Gomez comes on, and I think they're doing exactly what I think. Joe Gomez will go right back, Conor Bradley will go at right wing, and Harvey Elliott will just drift into the centre of midfield alongside McAllister and Endo. So that's what they've gone for. So it's Conor Bradley at right wing, a position that he's not played too often, but in this game, Conor Bradley has played quite high up the pitch. So it won't be something alien to him. We know he can attack really well, Conor Bradley. So even though it's not something Klopp would have wanted to have happened, having to play Conor Bradley at right wing, it's something that they're having to adapt to here. And it's a big blow for Liverpool, but it's in the best way possible. It's a big positive for Chelsea, losing a player like Ryan Gravenberch. Liverpool, because he's such a powerhouse in that midfield. It's back underway, ball deflects forward for Jackson off Gallagher, finds Enzo Fernandez, Sterling's over to the left, he tries to go through to Jackson in the middle, and it's too heavy hit, and it's to Kelleher in the Liverpool goal, but Enzo Fernandez has surely got to go for Sterling on the left, who had just peeled away there from Joe Gomez, and the former Liverpool winger Raheem Sterling was waiting, wanting to score, because he has scored 3 times previously against Liverpool. He's not scored against them in 3 years. His last came in February 2021. But he did play 120 minutes in that League Cup final against Liverpool for Manchester City in 2016. But what an opportunity that was for Enzo Fernandez to get the pass right, but he picked it all wrong. Chelsea back on the ball. Disati, high ball forward towards Jackson, headed one by Canate, headed forward on halfway there by Fernandez, and it gets the ball back from Gallagher, then out to the left to Chilwell. midway side of the Liverpool half, on the far side, lays it off for Sterling, who's passed back towards Gallagher, deflects off Bradley. It's a Chelsea throw-in, as we've had the first twist here in the game. And it's gone in Chelsea's favour, but for Liverpool, it will drive them probably even more to go and win this game now, with the likes of Gravenberch off injured, joining the long list that they've already got out at the moment, Liverpool. Halfway line is Fernandes. Forward to Palmer. Misplaced pass, it's a short one. Jackson went in behind. Palmer tried to go to feet, and it's cleaned up by Van Dijk. Out to the left here to Robertson. And back across here to the number 4, Virgil van Dijk. Who's only ever played 2 full 38 game seasons in the Premier League, and they came in the 2018-2019 season and the 2019-2020 season. That was really prime Virgil van Dijk before he got that very unfortunate ACL injury. But it seems like they've started to get back that version of Van Dijk that went missing ever so slightly when he was returning from that long layoff. And he's on the ball here at the moment on halfway, quickly playing it to his left to Robertson. Forward and out wide to Diaz. He's got everything to his right as he drives inside himself, gets away from Gusto, but tackled by Conor Gallagher, who will bring the ball away here for Chelsea down the right-hand side. He's got Palmer in support, lays it off to him, and he kicks it off Endo. And that'll be a throw in here for Chelsea inside the Liverpool half. Gusto takes quickly, gets the ball back from Gallagher, forward for Palmer, inside for Gallagher again, gets away from Endo, and then back through for Palmer on the right-hand side. On his left foot, it's an early cross, swings towards goal, and it's Kelleher to catch easily. Had no one around him there, the Irish goalkeeper. So it was a comfortable collection in the end. And we're just over half an hour in here. It's Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. McAllister ball over the top for Diaz, just over hit. It'll go through into the 18-yard box there for Djordje Petrovic. Is Luis Diaz is only making his 5th appearance in the competition. Scored his first goal in the League Cup last time out against Fulham at Craven Cottage. It was an early goal to kind of relax the pressure for Liverpool in that game, put them 3-1 up on aggregate. And he did play 97 minutes of the last final back in 2022, Luis Diaz. There's Petrovic on the ball, out to the right centre-back of Disasi, just outside his 18-yard box. Finds Gusto right back. Fernandes curls it in for Palmer. Fantastic touch into the Liverpool half, and then in behind for Jackson. Flag stays down for the moment. Jackson in the box. Plays it across. Sterling! And the flag goes up. Against his former side. Sterling taps home. Jackson looks like he's just gone early with his run. We'll have to get a replay on that. It did look like he'd just gone early. It was good play down the right to find Palmer. Beautiful touch. The ball was high, and that is close. That's really close. If anyone's playing, it could be either Konate or Van Dijk because the angle isn't great. But Jackson got into the box on the right-hand side. Instead of trying to force a shot, he's gone for the cross to the far post where he found Sterling, who had an easy tap-in from a couple of yards out. He's got in between Van Dijk and Konate there, Jackson. And it's a really well-timed pass from Palmer because Jackson could be onside here. It's going to be really close. The Senegalese striker, who had been missing during January and February at AFCON, he's returned, and he's also starting to show the signs of how good he can be as well. Provided the assist for Sterling in their last game at Manchester City. A ball across to Sterling, who did the rest. But they're having a good look at this VAR, who is John Brooks, and his assistant is Mark Perry. And there's a reason they're having a good look at this, because it is close. Raheem Sterling is a 5-time winner, and they've deemed him offside. How close is that? I think they've seen that the shoulder of Jackson is what was offside, and the goal will not stand. That is ever so close. Liverpool are let off the hook big time there, with Jackson found offside through his shoulder, it seems. And it remains goalless here at Wembley, but we've had our fair few chances here. As Chelsea have a throw in here on the far side, midway inside their own half. We've had Liverpool come close with Diaz in the area. And then Chelsea have had 2 huge chances. That one where it's ended up in a goal through Sterling, and also Palmer from 6 yards out forced a miraculous save from Kelleher in the Liverpool goal. Chilwell with the throw-in. It's a looped one into the Liverpool half. It's headed backwards by Gomez. Jackson will chase it, but it'll be Van Dijk to clear it away. Down the Liverpool right, where Gakpo's offside. And the free kick's gone Chelsea's way. Got to come on, Liverpool. So we've had a Liverpool fan. We've got a Chelsea fan as well. And it has been Chelsea who've had the better opportunities. I'm surprised they've not gone 1-0 up. I think that offside is so close. Disallowed. Lifted ball to Jackson. He does win the header, goes backwards to the halfway line, but drops to McAllister and not Palmer. Endo forward for Harvey Elliott. Touch gets away from him, but then Fernandes can't take it over. Elliott, 1-2 with Bradley. Harvey Elliott, he's got Caicedo following, but he can shift it to Gakpo on the edge of the area. Onto his right foot. Closed down with the shot, so has to play it back to Endo, who's got Robertson free on the left. Finds the Scotsman. He's 1-on-1 with Palmer. Inside to McAllister on the edge of the box. Clips it to the far post towards Bradley, who nods it down for Elliott. Just gets away from him. And it can be cleared quickly left the left foot of Enzo Fernandez, where Jackson tries to battle with Konate, but it's the French centre-half to come out on top. But Diaz loses out to Fernandez. Heavy touch inside. And it's now on the Chelsea right here with Palmer. On the halfway line. Switches out to the left for an onrushing Chilwell. It's a great ball. Decent touch ahead of him. And he'll keep it in here, Ben Chilwell. Towards the corner flag, 1-on-1 with Joe Gomez. And the last touch off Bradley, and that'll be a Liverpool, that'll be a Chelsea throw-in that Liverpool will have to defend here. Didn't do well in the cup competitions last season. Chelsea knocked out in the third round in the FA Cup and League Cup to Manchester City away from home. But they're still in both at the moment, competing in this final here in the League Cup, and then also still in the FA Cup where they play Leeds at home. And then Liverpool have got Southampton at home. As from that throw-in, Liverpool got it away towards Diaz, but he's been dispossessed by Gusto. And now on the edge of the 18-yard box is Axel Disasi, who has 5 French appearances. And his debut was actually at the World Cup in Qatar over a year ago now for Axel Disasi, where they got to that World Cup final, but was defeated by Lionel Messi's Argentina team. Midway side their own half is Colwill, shifting it into the midfield to Fernandes. Now Caicedo in the centre circle, slowly being pressed by former teammate McAllister. Fernandes out to the left to Chilwell. It's a challenging ball, but he controls it well. Then down the line for Sterling, who will beat Konate to it. In the final third, Sterling towards the byline to Gallagher, who pulls it across towards Palmer. Well cut out by Robertson. Good football from Chelsea. They've really grown into this game from the early exchanges where it was mainly Liverpool dominating the first 10 or 15 minutes. It's a really well-timed ball from Sterling to find Gallagher before it went out to play for a goal kick. And the cutback was good. Got beyond Van Dijk, but it just met Robertson instead of Palmer. And it went into the very thankful hands of Kelleher. So despite being 0-0, and the last 2 finals between these two teams being 0-0, it's been far from a boring game. I'm surprised we've not had a goal yet with some of the chances we've had. It's in the 18-yard box here with Kelleher for Liverpool. No Chelsea player pressing him at the moment. As he'll take his time on the ball here, the Irish goalkeeper. And finds Konate. Back into Kelleher, who clears it first time. Up towards Gakpo on halfway. Flicks it in behind Colwill. But he has to deal with it ahead of Bradley. And it's a throw-in for Liverpool. Inside the Chelsea half on the far side. Taken quickly by Elliott to Gakpo. And then back to the halfway line here to early substitute Joe Gomez, who had to be brought on for the injured Ryan Gravenberch. So Conor Bradley's gone out to the right wing position. And Gomez came in at right back and Elliott moved into midfield. About 10 yards away from the halfway line is Van Dijk on the ball. He's got Jackson close to him, but he can shift it across here to Gomez. Konate out to the right to Elliott, inside to Gomez. Down the line looking for Bradley, but he would never have found the Northern Irish fullback, who's now playing right wing, just overhit, nowhere near him in the end. Chelsea throwing. And we're talking about the 2 finals that were 0-0. Both meetings last season in the Premier League were also 0-0, so we've not had loads of goals in this fixture in recent history. But it has been Liverpool's fixture more often than not. No wins in the last 8 for Chelsea against today's opposition. Throwing down the line for Chelsea goes beyond Sterling and Endo. Now to Jackson, who's shoved off the ball by Konate, seen as a foul by the referee. Free kick for Chelsea on that far left-hand side. But interestingly enough, for Maurizio Pochettino, he's only beat Klopp once in the previous 13, and that one win came at Wembley when Tottenham were playing their home games at this stadium. It was a win that came back in October 2017 as Gakpo heads off the post. Cross worked in from the left-hand side, and Gakpo hits the woodwork. How on earth have we not had a goal yet in this final? McAllister battling with Caicedo, and it is Chelsea, I think, to win the throw-in from it. Disasi gave it away to Diaz, who ran at him on the left-hand side, laid it off to his left to McAllister, who then went back through for Diaz. Then found Robertson outside the area, who crossed it to Gakpo in 6 yards out, heading it towards the far post. He hit the woodwork, and away it went for Chelsea. So close for Liverpool. That's the closest Liverpool have come. And it took them 40 minutes through Cody Gakpo, who has scored in every round of this competition so far this season. As here is Gakpo again, tackled by Caicedo and Colwill. Bit of a sandwich there for Gakpo, and he loses out. And it's now Enzo Fernandez. Ball forward out to the left for Jackson, who gets around Konate. Jackson on it, still being followed by the French centre-back, who recovers well and kicks the ball out of play for a throw-in in the final third for Chelsea. Really good battle in there between Konate and Jackson. It's Cody Gakpo searching for his 12th goal of the season in all competitions. He got in between Fernandez and Colwill, and George Petrovic was completely left still, like a statue. Didn't move the goalkeeper and just prayed that that ball didn't hit the back of the net, and it didn't hit the woodwork instead, and Chelsea survive. Chilwell down the line towards Gallagher. Drops here for Jackson. Poked away by Gomez to the chest of Chilwell. Lifts it into Sterling. On the Chelsea left here. Jackson now with Gallagher. Working himself away from Bradley. Then Fernandez back to the halfway line to Colwill. Well kept there by Chelsea because they were in quite a congested area on the far side. Disasi. Oh, out to the right to Gusto. Another poor touch by the Frenchman. And it's a cheap throw-in to give away for Liverpool, as it looked like Chelsea were trying to build a little bit of momentum there. But it's been taken away from them quite rapidly through that poor touch. And Liverpool have worked it to their goalkeeper of Kelleher. It's now out to the right to Bradley, inside to Elliott, to Konate. Just gets it beyond Raheem Sterling. And then Konate's ball forward is misplaced towards Diaz on the left. Gusto to Palmer. Runs into traffic of McAllister but keeps it away from the Argentine, but then gives it away to Elliott on halfway. Now it's on the left here to Robertson, who charges forward, plays it into Diaz. Everything to his right here, including a run by Robertson. Doesn't use him. Diaz into the box instead to Gakpo. Tries to lay it off to Elliott. Gets away from the number 19. And it's now with Chelsea in their right back position with Malo Gusto. Lifts it down the right channel towards Jackson. Can't quite beat Van Dijk to it, who heads it across to his partner Konate at the back. And it's Liverpool once again in possession on this near side with Diaz being fed through by Robertson. Having to keep himself away here from Palmer. Still with Luis Diaz. Plays it behind him here to Endo. And back to the halfway line now to Van Dijk. Switch out to the right, looking towards Bradley. Header won by Chilwell. Back towards the halfway line where Jackson heads it out to the left towards Sterling, who will chase the ball down. But it'll be seen out for a throw in there by Joe Gomez. So Liverpool's ball on the halfway line. Thrown by Gomez to Elliott. Chested touch is heavy. And out of play it goes for a Chelsea throw. Right in front of their technical area where Maurizio Pochettino is stood right near Ben Chilwell. It's Caicedo, brought down there by McAllister. And that'll be a free kick for Chelsea. Still inside their own half. Enzo Fernandez. Back into Caicedo, midway inside the Chelsea half. It's now with number 26, Levi Colwill, who celebrates his 21st birthday tomorrow. And what a present it would be if Chelsea can bring home this title. Enzo Fernandez curled out to the right here to Gusto. Ball inside for Palmer. Wants the 1-2, but it's cut out by Robertson. Had to be helped with by Van Dijk on the edge of the area. And the ball deflects forward for Elliott. It's now out to the left to Diaz, who skips beyond Enzo Fernandez. Luis Diaz is through. Here, one-on-one with Disasi. Enters the box. Diaz plays it through for Elliott. Squares it across towards Gakpo. Deflects for Diaz. Plays it to the right. Bradley strikes it. Big block from Gallagher. And cleared away there by Chelsea's Caicedo. Another huge opportunity right before the break. Ball recycled in the box by Gomez to the far post. Goes all the way through here for Luis Diaz. Outside the area. Enters the box once again. Goes on to his right foot. And it's cleared by Disasi. What a block that was by Gallagher. On the attempt from Bradley. Who was looking for his second goal against Chelsea. In a matter of months. But the academy graduate for Chelsea threw himself in the way of that strike. Still Liverpool on the ball in the Chelsea half as we've played 45 minutes. 6 added on. That's mainly due to the fact of the Ryan Gravenberch injury, really, where he was stretched off in the end. It looked like an ankle problem that he had after a late challenge by Moises Caicedo. McAllister forward for Diaz, 22 yards out in the central area. He's going to let fly, blocked by Colwill. Ball drops out to the Liverpool right here to Gomez. 1-2 with Bradley. Joe Gomez goes behind Elliott, picked up by Chilwell, who's tripped on the edge of the box by Gomez. And it's a free kick for Chelsea. Big opportunity there. Elliott's cut back, well dealt with by Colwill. It then fell to Diaz. He went across to Bradley, whose shot was actually blocked by Colwill again. Gallagher did throw himself at it, but before he got through to Gallagher, it was actually a Colwill block. Gallagher was just behind him. Really good block there by Colwill, who got in the way twice for Chelsea. But Liverpool could be in here. Diaz on the left, one-on-one with Cole Palmer, just outside the box towards the byline. Runs away from goal and finds Endo. 22 yards out here, plays it to the left to Diaz. He's got Robertson to the left of him. Completes a 1-2. Van Dijk. Ball switched out to the right towards Bradley, who goes with the header. Loses out to Chilwell. Drops through for Gomez, who goes down the line for Bradley. Tackled by Chilwell. Last touch off the Northern Irish fullback, and there's a bit of pushing and shoving here between Bradley and Chilwell. Seems a little bit unnecessary. There's anger and tension flares up here. Just all seems a little, I don't know, just not needed, that. Bradley and Chilwell, who were grappling with each other to win the ball, and eventually went Chelsea's way, and it's just a cheap yellow card now for Chilwell and Bradley. And the referee's probably right to book them, just to make sure it doesn't happen again. Understanding that players can't be doing that to allow it to erupt the way it did. I mean, in fairness, Bradley really wasn't letting go of Chilwell, but then Chilwell wasn't letting Bradley's leg go as they were interlocked together. And then it all just spilled over a little bit. Everyone wanted to get involved, and it just all seemed a little bit not needed. Just a bit childish, really. But that's what finals can do. They can bring the emotion level up, and it can cause players to lose their cool a little bit at times. But we're going to get back underway. And to be fair, I quite like the way the referees officiated the game. That's the first 2 yellow cards of the game. And we've had a few challenges which maybe should have been yellows, but he's let the game play. He's let fouls happen and just let the free kicks be taken quickly and get the game playing. As Chelsea now on the ball in their own half. Gusto, big ball forward, looking in behind the Liverpool defence. Header won by Van Dijk. Out of play for Chelsea for a throw-in on the near side. Midway inside the Liverpool half here. Well read there by Virgil van Dijk as they were looking for Nicholas Jackson in behind. Chelsea have played it back into their own half here through the throw-in. With Levi Colwill on the ball. Forward for Caicedo. Round the corner to the left to Gallagher. Runs into the traffic of Bradley. Ball finds Gakpo. Tackled by Fernandez. That ball drops to Elliott, whose pass is blocked by Gallagher. And now Chelsea try and counter. Chilwell down the left here for Jackson. Uses his body to try and shield it away from Van Dijk, but it still runs through to the Liverpool captain. And he goes back to Kelleher, who clears it quickly beyond the halfway line. Header won by Disasi on Gakpo. Ball finds McAllister. Out to the left to Diaz on halfway. Inside to the right here to McAllister. And across to Konate. And it's Chelsea who've set back up in a defensive shape. It's Liverpool working out to the far side here to Elliott. It's now with Gomez. Across to McAllister, midway side of the Chelsea half. Finds Robertson. Palmer's moving across to try and close down Robertson, but he finds Diaz instead. Endo to Diaz. Konate. We've had 6 added on. We've played 4.5 of it. As it's Liverpool looking the most likely to score at the end of this half, as they are camped in the Chelsea half at the moment. Bradley in the final third. On the right-hand side, works the crossing towards the near post. Header away by Gallagher. Straight through for Elliott. Who doesn't go for the second cross. He plays it to Endo. Then to the edge of the area to McAllister. Can't thread the ball through to Gakpo in the area. Goes straight through for Petrovic. And Chelsea can just take a sigh of relief there. As Liverpool looked like they were cooking something dangerous. But it all simmered down in the end. We've got less than a minute of this first half. And it somehow is still 0-0. There's the long ball by Petrovic straight to Robertson, who can control it with his left boot and drive into the Chelsea half. Kicks it off Palmer, who can keep it in. And goes back to Gusto. Now Petrovic takes no chances there. Plays out to the right first time towards Palmer. Header won by Robertson. Finds Diaz. Tackle from behind by Gusto. Last touch off the Chelsea fullback. And it's a Liverpool throw-in. And that's taken quickly by Robertson to McAllister, who's battling with Caicedo. A little bit too aggressive there, the Ecuadorian. And it's a Liverpool free kick on halfway. And it's back into their own half here with number 5, Ibrahima Konate, who's never lost or scored against Chelsea previously in his career, as he was fouled there from behind by Jackson on the halfway line. Robertson on the near side. Into the space here for Diaz. This could be the last chance of the half. Luis Diaz in the box. One-on-one with Gusto. Been forced out of the area and finds Robertson, who crosses with the right foot. Just goes behind Bradley, who can control it nicely. Takes on the turn and squares the ball into the area. Dealt with by Colwill. And the half-time whistle's blown by Chris Kavanagh. And at Wembley here, between Chelsea and Liverpool, it's all square at 0-0. We have had plenty of chances. It has not been a boring 0-0. And I am rather surprised we still haven't had a goal here. Both sides have had chances. Diaz had the first around 15 minutes in, entering the box from the left-hand side and having a fierce shot down low to Petrovic's right. But the Serbian goalkeeper was equal to it. Chelsea's first big chance came through Cole Palmer. The ball deflected across to him after a battle between Sterling and Bradley in the box on the ball. It fell through for Palmer, who on the 6-yard line had a strike towards the right-hand side of the goal. There wasn't much wrong with the strike. It was more the save that was the best part of it. It was an absolutely incredible save by Kelleher to keep the ball out for Liverpool. But Chelsea have continued to look like a threat on the counter-attack. And in fact, they've had the ball in the net with 10 minutes to go in the first half. It was a ball played down the right-hand side by Palmer, who got in between Konate and Van Dijk. Jackson got on the end of the pass, played it across to Sterling, who tapped in the 6-yard box from the Jackson cross, but Jackson was deemed offside as the ball was played, and it seemed like it was the shoulder that was deemed offside. So very, very unfortunate for Chelsea to not have that goal stand. And for Liverpool, they've also come close near the end of the half. A really key block from Colwill as Bradley struck in the 18-yard area. But both sides have had chances. Both sides have not registered a goal yet to stand. We've had one disallowed for Chelsea. Liverpool have also come close, but here at Wembley, after the first half, which involved 51 minutes of play, it is Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. I don't know if any of you guys are watching at home as well, but that has been a really entertaining first half of football, and I'm just not quite sure how it's still 0-0. The Palmer chance early on was huge, great save for Kelleher. Colwill blocked well there on the Bradley shot. Gakpo also hit the post with a header. Forgot to mention that. Gakpo hit the post as well. And Petrovic was beaten. Petrovic was stood completely still in the middle of the goal as Gakpo hit the woodwork. So they've had an equal amount of chances as well. Liverpool have had more shots with 8 shots, 3 on target. Chelsea have had 3 shots, 2 on target. Liverpool just winning the possession battle with 54%, but they both had 2-3 big chances each. So in terms of the big chances, it's very even. But it is Liverpool at the moment who are just edging it with the shots taken at goal. Anybody where we can watch? Well, in the UK, it is Sky Sports you can watch it on. If you do leave for the half-time break, make sure you definitely return in around 15 minutes for the second half. The 3 commentaries that are confirmed to take place next week. Subscribe anyway, so you know exactly when my commentaries go live. But the next 3 for next week confirmed, we might have a 4th in there as well, is Coventry against Maidstone tomorrow, 7:45 kickoff in the FA Cup 5th round. We've got another FA Cup game on the Wednesday when Wolves take on Brighton. And then at the weekend, next Sunday, we have Arsenal women taking on Spurs women in the WSL. So they're the 3 confirmed commentaries for next week. I might try and add a 4th in there as well during the week. But they're the 3 that's going to be taking place. Make sure you join tomorrow's live stream, the Coventry Maidstone game, because we covered the Maidstone game when they beat Ipswich away in the 4th round, and that was a seriously special moment. And let's see if we can get another special moment just like that with Maidstone, who beat Ipswich, who are high up in the table in the Championship. So there's absolutely no reason why they can't go to Coventry and try and upset them as well, as Coventry did lose their last game at home on Friday night to Preston. So they could be a little bit vulnerable. But it's been a really entertaining League Cup final, but we're yet to get the first goal. But Chelsea had it in the net, and it seemed like it was a very tight offside call. Looks like the shoulder of Jackson was what was seen as offside. But in we have also had a Premier League game on today, and I don't know what the score was. It was Wolves, Sheffield United, and it ended just 1-0 to Wolves, a Sarabia goal. So that lifts Wolves into 8th position, above Newcastle, who have dropped into 9th, and now West Ham are in 10th, and Chelsea at the moment go into 11th. We also had an injury in there, if you weren't aware. Ryan Gravenberch came off with an ankle injury and was replaced by Gomez. And that Palmer chance was in the 20th minute. Sterling couldn't quite get the ball under control. It deflected off Bradley through to Palmer, who had a very powerful strike towards goal. And it looked like it was going to hit the back of the net, but Kelleher somehow with that left arm stretching out saved the ball, and then Endo cleaned up as well as Jackson tried to get on the end of the deflected save. So good that from Kelleher, who has obviously been Liverpool's number 2 for some time now, but there's got to be Premier League teams maybe, or top of the Championship. I'm not quite sure where exactly his level would be, but there's got to be teams looking at him for their first choice goalkeeper. Because in terms of his international career for Caoimhín Kelleher, he's got 10 appearances at the moment for Ireland, 5 clean sheets. He competes with Gavin Bazunu of Southampton, who've left Manchester City to go to Southampton to get that first team football. And, you know, if you're not playing regularly, you know, more unlikely, managers usually pick the players who are playing more often. It's not always the case, because we see with Gareth Southgate, it doesn't really matter how often you play, you'll get picked anyway. But I think for his own career, because he's not young anymore, 25 years old at Caoimhín Kelleher, and he's shown on many occasions that he's a fantastic goalkeeper. And, you know, there's a reason why Klopp trusts him in these finals. Yes, Klopp didn't have much of a choice in this final as Alisson was injured, but usually Caoimhín Kelleher does play League Cup finals. And I find it hard to believe that he couldn't make it as a first choice goalkeeper at a Premier League club or high up in the Championship as a minimum. He does have a contract at Liverpool until 2026. Caoimhín Kelleher, the Cork-born goalkeeper, and he's kept Liverpool in this game at 0-0, because a lot of goalkeepers probably would have struggled to have got over to that and to keep it out. But in terms of the substitute from Gravenberch, who's replaced by Gomez, Liverpool, in terms of experience on the bench, only have Tsimikas at 27 years old. The other substitutes now for Liverpool are at the age of 21, 2 19-year-olds, a 16-year-old, and then 2 18-year-olds. So they're all teenagers, bar Jarell Quansah, who has rarely put himself in the Liverpool squad this season. Made 19 appearances so far, Jarell Quansah, and has been dropped from the bench as he started Liverpool's last game against Luton on Wednesday, and then also started the semi-final second leg against Fulham, but Klopp decided to go with Konate and Van Dijk instead and left Quansah on the bench. But the second half will be getting back underway in a couple of minutes' time here. And after the first half, I think it's an open game for anyone to take this. Like Liverpool, Chelsea in their own rights will be looking at this and believing that they should have been the team, the team that should be ahead. Like that Palmer chance was honestly that was huge, and they've had the ball in the back of the net as well, and it was only deemed offside by an inch. It seemed, maybe even millimeters. Honestly, it was such a tight decision. So I think, despite Liverpool having chances of their own, I do think they're quite fortunate not to be behind, really. And that's what was the issue with Chelsea. That was what was the problem at City, for Manchester City last week, against Chelsea. Like, Chelsea were defending strongly, but on the counter-attack, every time that Chelsea went forward, you believe they could have scored. And it seems the same today. Every time they go forward, it looks dangerous when you've got Palmer running at your defence and you've got the runs of Jackson and Sterling as well. It can cause these defences problems. But I definitely can't quite see this game going one way or the other. I do think that it will be very close right till the end. I can't see either team taking this game and winning 3-0, say. I think this will probably be decided by a goal at the most. But I think it's also a fact of, I think it'd be interesting as well who scores first. That might have a big say of how the game goes. Because if Liverpool score first, do Chelsea at the moment have that mentality to get themselves back in the game? That would be the biggest question. But for Liverpool, if they were to go behind, you'd fully believe that they would have the right mindset and the correct belief to go on and equalise. So I do think for Chelsea, it's massive for them to not go behind. I think for Liverpool, I don't think it'd be as big of an issue because they've been there before and they've done it. They under Klopp and their mentality, they know that they're never out of a game until it's over. So the first goal, I think, will be huge in this, and I think Chelsea need that first goal more than Liverpool do. So we'll just see how the game all plays out. But it is finally poised for the second half, where Chelsea are looking to win their first League Cup since 2015. And for Liverpool, they are looking for their 10th League Cup. And that would be a record as the team with the most League Cups with 10. I doubt we'll see any Liverpool changes, if any, for the rest of the game because, like I say, they've only got inexperienced youngsters on the bench, really, other than Tsimikas and you could argue Quansah, who's been involved heavily in the first team this season. But for Chelsea, they have got the likes of Madueke, Mudryk and Kunku as well, in terms of their attacking options. They're a bit light in the midfield, but I don't think they'd want to replace the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo anyway. is a big month of March for Liverpool, who have got Southampton to see out the month of February, and then they've got Forest away from home, which could be a difficult fixture under Nuno Espirito Santo, and then they've got their first leg of their Europa League last 16 game against Sparta Prague. But for Chelsea, they're going to be aiming for those European spots. They want to try and at least get into the top 7 of the table. Currently 11th, but it is quite close at the moment, with the likes of Chelsea, West Ham, Newcastle, Wolves getting in there now as well. But in terms of today, it is a major piece of silverware that is on the line. For Chelsea, they're looking for their 6th League Cup title. They have lost their last 2 League Cup finals on penalties to Liverpool in 2022 and Manchester City in 2019. But 3 of the last 4 games between these two have been draws. 2 of them 0-0 in January and April of 2023. We'll get the second half underway in a couple of minutes' time, hopefully. We did have 6 minutes added on at the end of that first half. After the Ryan Gravenberch injury. Took up a little bit of time as he was stretchered off, the Dutch central midfielder. So it's another player on the injury list for Liverpool. It's now 10 injured at the moment. And it's not even like they've got 10 squad players out. You know, Salah's out. Jones has been really influential for Liverpool this season. Thiago's been missing forever. He came on against Arsenal and then got injured again. Jota, who's been in really good goal scoring form as well at the moment, him out. There is a better angle now of the disallowed Chelsea goal on the 32nd minute, and that angle does show a little bit more clearly that he's probably offside. The other angle they showed wasn't amazing, but the other angle they've just shown did look more like he was offside. So both sets of players are back out on the pitch. It looks like we are going to get back underway in a minute's time. So if you are new, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. We've got another commentary coming tomorrow. Coventry against Maidstone in the FA Cup 5th round. But here our focus is on the League Cup final. As it is Chelsea against Liverpool. It's still 0-0. But as we mentioned right through the half and half-time, it's quite the mystery how we haven't had a goal yet. With Chelsea having it in the back of the net once, but was ruled out for offside in the build-up. But it was Chelsea kicking off, kicking right to left. Liverpool left to right here. Ball goes back to Colwill. Plays it out to the right, straight to Diaz for Liverpool, who heads it forward. Controlled by Disasi. Turns away from Gakpo and plays it into Colwill. And it's now Chelsea in possession. Back with their goalkeeper, Petrovic, who quickly shifts it out to the right. It's a long ball forward into the Liverpool half. Headed away by Van Dijk. Turn really well there by Endo on Gallagher. And then fires it out to the left. That's a great ball. Diaz onside. In the box. Round the outside of Gusto. Goes across and it deflects for a corner. A rapid start for Liverpool in the second half of this League Cup final. Endo on the halfway line. Taking it on the turn so well. Completely taking Gallagher out of the game. And then Diaz just electric as usual. Running at the defence and finding the cross, which has won Liverpool this corner. On the far side, it looks like it'll be a left-footed outswinger here from Andy Robertson. Left arm raised from the Scotsman. Crosses the ball into the box towards Van Dijk. Flicked away by Colwill. Conor Bradley wants to get onto his right foot. Tackled by Fernandes. Picked up by McAllister. Endo drives a strike and it's always curling away from goal and wide. Rapid start for Liverpool. Nothing came of that corner, unfortunately, for the Reds. As it was McAllister who won it back off Fernandes and then Gakpo inside to Endo, whose shot wasn't the best we've ever seen. Always curling away from goal there from the former Stuttgart midfielder. As there is Ian Rush and Sir Kenny Dalglish there. Two Liverpool legends in the crowd at Wembley. As it's Gusto at right back for Chelsea. Goes to his goalkeeper here, Petrovic. Been closed down here by Gusto. Ball out to the left of Chilwell. Is it overhit? Yes, it is. Straight out of play for a throw-in. Midway side the Chelsea half here for Liverpool. Definitely a better start from the team in red to kickstart this League Cup final second half. But I think that is a really interesting stat, the fact that Chelsea have lost their last 5 finals at Wembley. Like, that is heartbreaking, to say the least. To lose the last 5 finals, as Bradley can't quite get on the end of that long throw-in, and it's gone straight out of play there for a Chelsea goal kick. But as we mentioned before, Chelsea's 5 wins in their last 10. They've come against 5 teams that you'd probably expect them to beat, bar Aston Villa. They've beat Preston in the FA Cup, Fulham, Middlesbrough, Aston Villa and Palace. That Aston Villa away win was really good. We commentated on that game. It was a perfect away display from Chelsea and that replay to get them into the 5th round. As Robertson takes it off Sterling, back to Kelleher, clears it with his left foot, loops in the sky. Header won by Caicedo on McAllister. And out it goes for a Liverpool throw-in on the left-hand side. As Caicedo's won that header, I don't know if the landing was slightly awkward. He's just struggling with his knee at the moment, but I think he's going to be helped back to his feet and he'll be okay to continue here. Moises Caicedo, who just landed a little awkwardly on his knee, it seemed there. And we're back underway. Midway side the Liverpool half with Konate. Goes back here to Kelleher. Then curls out to the right back of Joe Gomez, who brings the ball forward towards the halfway line. Low ball in towards Bradley. Deflects off Fernandez. Picked up by Elliott. Runs it out of pitch on the near side. And it'll be a Chelsea throw-in. It'll go the way of Ben Chilwell. Did well there just to see the ball out. Ben Chilwell not allowing Harvey Elliott any time on the ball. Throwing goes to Sterling, who's been a little bit quiet in this final so far, as the last touch comes off Endo, so it'll be another throw-in for Chelsea. He did finish that move off for the disallowed goal, but in terms of the overall build-up play, he's not really been too involved, Raheem Sterling. For the experience he has, you'd want him more in the game. Chilwell throws it down the Chelsea left. It's Jackson battling with Konate, and it runs through towards Gallagher. Nothing given to either player. And the play continues. Misplaced pass by Endo. Heavy touch by Fernandez. And he's dispossessed by Endo. And the ball goes forward to Elliott from Gomez. Back to Gomez at right back. And then into Kelleher in the 6-yard box. Jackson going over to close him down. But Kelleher clears it with his left foot up to the halfway line. He goes beyond Gusto, who is fouled there by Diaz as he went up for the ball. He was brought down by the Colombian. And on the halfway line, it's a Chelsea free kick. Big switch out to the left here towards Sterling, who will chase it, but the ball will go out for a throw-in for Liverpool in the right-back area. Didn't seem like he was too aware of what was going on there, Raheem Sterling. And it'll actually be a free kick instead. I presume got to be an offside there. Don't think there was any push in the back, so I think Sterling may have been offside. As Gomez goes long with this one, out to the left-hand side, headed away by Disasi. Helped on by McAllister, controlled by Gakpo. Keeps it away from Caicedo, but cleared away by Gusto. Chested forward by Van Dijk here to Robertson. Forward to Luis Diaz, who is one-on-one here with Palmer in the final third. He's got everything to his right here for Liverpool. He goes back to Endo. Now Diaz back to Van Dijk on halfway. And it's Liverpool in possession of the ball here. Konate, high ball out to the left towards no one in red. Dealt with easily here for Malo Gusto, who clears down the line. Straight to Endo. So it's Liverpool back in possession. 1-2 with McAllister. Endo on the ball. Shrugging off Caicedo's challenge. And then curling it out to the right to Connor Bradley. Good midfield work there by Endo. Bradley, ball to the left, can't find Gomez, cut out by Caicedo on the edge of the area. Sterling gets away from Bradley. Fernandes, outside of the boot, ball down the left channel here for Jackson. 1-on-1 with Canate. He's been forced out wide here. Nicholas Jackson trying to get to his right foot, plays it through. Gallagher squares it, has to be finished. Enzo Fernandez tries the back heel, and it was going well wide of the goal. It's been kept in by Kelleher. What a chance that is for Chelsea on the break. Jackson did so well to cut inside on his right foot and find the ball through for Gallagher, who then squared it for Enzo Fernandez, and you just feel like he's got to lay it off for Palmer at the far post, but he's gone for the back heel, and it went nowhere near goal. And Chelsea, who have had their first big attack of the second half, it's all gone to waste. But they are back on the ball, midway side of their own half here, with number 26, Levi Colwill, who's actually never been beaten before by Liverpool, was involved in the 3-0 win for Brighton last season in the Premier League, and then was a part of the 1-1 draw at the start of this season for Chelsea. He was actually injured for the 4-1 defeat in January at Anfield. That's on the far side here is Gusto. Back to the halfway line here to Disasi. Across into the centre circle now to Enzo Fernandez. Forward. And now into the Argentine midfielder. Forward for Gallagher. Facing his own goal, so finds Enzo Fernandez once again. Disasi. To his right, he's got Gusto in front and then Palmer, but Disasi overhits the touch and gives the ball away. Pochettino is absolutely furious. Counter-attacks on. McAllister tried to play it through for Elliott. What an interception that is by Colwill. I don't think Disasi will need telling that he's made a huge error there, but he needs to just forget about that one because his centre-back partner bailed him out. Needed to get that pass right, McAllister. But in fairness, it was good reading of the game there by Colwill to intercept. And Chelsea now attack. Palmer's cross is deflected. And into the hands of Kelleher, just about kept it in instead of conceding the corner. But just pondering on the ball for too long, Disasi, and then the ball got away from him with a poor touch, and the counter-attack was then on for Liverpool, but they couldn't make the most of it. Robertson at left-back for Liverpool on the ball, inside to McAllister. Not got many options in front of him, so goes back to Robertson, now into the 18-yard box here to Kelleher. He's going to send this ball long into the Chelsea half. It's in behind the defence. Bradley will chase it. Petrovic out of his box and heads it out to the left to Chilwell. Really good goalkeeping there by Petrovic as Chilwell will go long himself. Sterling will chase this down. Kelleher thought about coming out but allowed Canate instead to take over and head it back towards him. And then Kelleher quickly throws it out to Gomez at right back, chests it into his space and now lays it off for Elliott in the Chelsea half. Harvey Elliott goes to his left here to the halfway line to McAllister, who finds Canate in the Liverpool half. It's now with Harvey Elliott. And it's back in Liverpool possession once again. And Liverpool are yet to keep a clean sheet in this season's League Cup. They've conceded one goal in every game so far, including the both legs in the semi-finals. So they do usually concede in this competition, Liverpool, as McAllister gives it away on the edge of the area to Disasi. Pokes out to Chilwell. First time pass forward to Sterling. Now into Jackson. Back heels it into Gallagher, who finds Gusto, whose touch takes himself into the Liverpool half. Gusto bringing the ball forward here. Needs to release it. It's been closed down by Endo. Still with Gusto. Plays the ball forward to Palmer. Lifts it over the trailing leg of Endo. And bursting inside here, Palmer. 25 yards out. He will let fly towards the bottom right corner. But he's just dragged it wide there, Palmer. Has already scored here this season, Cole Palmer, in the Community Shield final for Manchester City. Also scored in Manchester City's Super Cup final as well against Sevilla. But that time his attempt was always going wide of the post. Oh, but Palmer's free, by the way, for that chance with Enzo Fernandez about 5 minutes ago. I don't know why he tried to back heel it. He just needs to play the ball across 5 yards and Palmer more than likely would have scored that one, as it was a bit of a better angle for him. And Kelleher wasn't as close as he was in the first half for that incredible save he made on Cole Palmer. Van Dijk, ball over the top. Bradley's chasing it again. Petrovic doesn't have to leave his area. It goes straight through towards him, and he quickly rolls it out to Chilwell. It's now with the right centre-back of Disasi. Gusto being closed down here by Diaz. Back to Disasi. Needs to get rid. Lifts it forward to the halfway line to Jackson. He tries to head inside. It does find Caicedo. His head is intercepted by Elliott on the centre circle. And then Konate goes back to Keller. Quickly out to the left here to Van Dijk. And then back to Keller again on the edge of the 18-yard box. And it's Liverpool in possession at the moment. McAllister. Back into Van Dijk on the halfway line. It's Robertson on the far side. Back into Van Dijk once again. He was never scored in this competition himself. Virgil van Dijk, after 8 appearances for Liverpool and 5 for Southampton. Obviously now it's 9 appearances in this competition for Liverpool. As midway inside the Chelsea half here, it is Diaz who's took up a central position here. It's now out to the right to Elliott through a pass from Gomez. Elliott switched it out to the left towards Gakpo, who will control it nicely with his chest just inside the area. Puts the ball into the far post. Elliott wants to volley it. He'll put it towards goal. It's been palmed away by Petrovic. To Palmer on the edge of the area, who plays it over the top towards Gusto. Out of pitch it goes. Thrown for Liverpool. It's definitely a save you'd expect Petrovic to make, but still got it away from a dangerous area for no rebound. It's Diaz on the edge. He will let fly, and he's got to release it to Elliott, who is free on the right-hand side. But he went on his own instead, Luis Diaz, who scored in Liverpool's last game against Luton on Wednesday. But he was just off balance as he hit it, and it went very wide and very over the crossbar. Not quite sure why Petrovic didn't catch that ball. But instead he opted to punch the ball away to give it that distance. As Petrovic from the goal kick goes long, right to Van Dijk, where there's no Chelsea player there to challenge him. The header goes to Diaz, who's got Enzo Fernandez closest to him, but he finds Gakpo, who's on the left wing at the moment, tackled by Gusto. But he wins it back, and the ball inside to Diaz, taken away from him by Caicedo. All as far as McAllister. Now Gakpo on the edge of the box, on the Liverpool left. Finds Robertson. Now back to McAllister, who's taken down as he releases it, but advantage is played. And then it will be brought back as it was just Van Dijk on the ball on the halfway line, so I'm sure Liverpool would rather have the free kick and attempt to get the cross in from this far side. Just a quick 1-2 there between McAllister and Endo. And instead of tracking the ball, Gallagher just took out the man instead to close down the option. And it's quite far out, but midway inside the Chelsea half. And it's not too far on the left-hand side, but it's a good enough angle for Liverpool to work a good ball in here. It's Robertson stood over it with McAllister. It looks like it will be the left-footed option of Robertson to cross this ball in. In it goes to the 18-yard box. Van Dijk wins the header and heads it home for his first ever League Cup goal. And he gives Liverpool the lead in the League Cup final. It is a ridiculously powerful header beyond Petrovic in the Chelsea goal. And two of the players who are involved in Liverpool's leadership group are the players to put them ahead. It's a terrific cross from Robertson with that left foot of his, which provides so many assists. And Van Dijk, somehow, for some reason, being marked by Ben Chilwell. No idea why. Obviously, beat Chilwell to the header, like he was always going to do. And he heads it towards the far corner, where it goes beyond the outstretched Serbian goalkeeper of George Petrovic. Bounces over the goal line and in. And with half an hour to play, Liverpool lead. It's Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1. All from that free kick, which just seemed a bit unnecessary to give away from Conor Gallagher. But Andy Robertson crossed it. Van Dijk headed it into the back of the net. And those Liverpool fans go absolutely berserk at Wembley. As they're checking for an offside, but I'm sure Van Dijk's not offside. It's just if anyone else is in the build-up. Is Gakpo offside possibly? As he attempted to win the header? That's the only thing I can think of, because Virgil van Dijk could not be any more onside. As Van Dijk does look like he's having a grab of 2 shirts there. But Gakpo didn't go for the header. Gakpo was nowhere near involved. That's got to be a goal, hasn't it? The referee's going to check. On the screen, it said checking for offside, but I don't think it's offside they're checking for. I think they're going to have a look for a foul here. It can't be looking for offside because no one's offside who's involved in the game, who's involved in the play. Endo's offside as it's crossed in. And Endo slightly blocks Colwill. And in all honesty, if Colwill's not blocked off, he probably challenges Van Dijk for the header. Hence why Chilwell was left with Van Dijk. Colwill is just blocked off there by Endo. It says checking for offside, but they can't be. They physically can't be checking for offside. Because from the angles they're showing an angle from behind the goal. So they can't be checking offside. They can't be. I'm sure they're maybe checking a foul, maybe. Honestly, I don't know what they're checking for here. I don't see too much wrong with it. It's a brilliant header from Van Dijk. So the referee's had a look. And the referee is given offside. My job as a commentator is to explain to you what happens on the pitch. This is one of moments. I've not had many of these moments. I don't know what's happened there. I don't know who's offside. I don't know why that decision's been given. I can't hear the commentary on the TV, so I don't know if they know any more than me. So I'm going to have a look on Twitter and see if we can get an explanation. Endo was offside, but maybe because Endo was offside and he blocked off Colwill, that's him involved. That's the only thing I can think of. As the ball went in, Endo was in an offside position, and then he stopped Colwill following the ball into the box. And Colwill would have been there to challenge the ball with Van Dijk, without a doubt. So that's what I'm thinking. That it's Endo offside, and it's him blocking off Colwill, which has caused him to be involved in the play. And obviously, if you're offside, you can't be involved in the passage of play. And that's why it's been disallowed. So it's 0-0 still, somehow, in this League Cup final. Both teams have had the ball in the back of the net, but both have had it disallowed for offside. That is crazy. It's been a great League Cup final. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I just don't quite know how we've not had a goal yet. That's stood anyway. So I hope that gives a little bit more clarification to what happened. It was Endo in an offside position. He blocked off the run of Colwill, who then couldn't challenge Van Dijk for the header, who then eventually won the header and scored. So with 25 minutes to play, still 0-0. And it's a free kick for Chelsea inside their own half. Late challenge by Gomez on Gallagher. So a bit of a let-off that for Chelsea. More of a warning, if anything, to not give free kicks away in those kind of positions. Yeah, it's quite obvious the way Endo just blocks him off there. Colwill straight away was there to complain. Yeah, Endo wasn't even looking at the ball, just made sure he blocked off the run of Colwill. And 100% Colwill's challenging for the ball. I'm not saying he wins the header, because we'll never know. But he's certainly blocked off, and he would have been there to challenge Van Dijk for it. So, a rightly given disallowed goal for me, personally. Because you can't block off a player like that. You know, Endo wasn't even looking at the ball. He wasn't even making a run towards the ball there, Endo. And he's been caught out in an offside position. And the game remains here at 0-0. So many decisions here. As in the final third, Robertson can't get beyond the challenge of Gusto. Now drops to Palmer, who goes down over the challenge of Robertson. Not giving it... it is giving us a free kick. And we're going to get Chelsea's first change of the game. Raheem Sterling is going to be coming off. And I understand that change. He's not really been in the game at all, Raheem Sterling. We mentioned it before. I know he scored the disallowed goal in the first half, but he got on the end of a cross where you'd expect him to be. But in terms of just within the game itself, he's just been a little bit isolated. Been a bit of a ghost figure in there. So it looks like Nicholas Jackson will move out to the left wing, and they're going to play Christopher Nkunku up front. Scored his second Chelsea goal against Liverpool in that 4-1 defeat at Anfield. And the Frenchman, who's coming on for just his 10th Chelsea appearance after an injury-hit season, after he was injured with a knee problem in pre-season, from up to December, and then came back and was also out struggling with his hip in January. But here he is in the League Cup final. There's Nicholas Jackson. Gets there ahead of Van Dijk and gets beyond the Dutchman. Goes down over a challenge. Nothing given by the referee. But Conor Gallagher wins it back off Robertson in the corner flag. Shoved to the ground. Nothing given again. Still battling with it. And then eventually tripped again is Gallagher. And the foul goes against Robertson. And the Scotsman is claiming that the number 23 for Chelsea was diving. But Robertson had constant nibbles at him. And eventually the free kick went Chelsea's way. Had it in the corner flag there, Robertson, but lost it to Gallagher. Went down the first time. That probably could have been a foul. But then the second time and the third. When I say Robertson had nibbles, he had 3. He took him down the first time, which could have been a free kick. Swung for the ball and missed it a second time and took out Gallagher. Gallagher got back up again, and then the third swing eventually won him the free kick. Robertson was definitely not letting Gallagher get past him there. That is for sure. And now it's Chelsea's turn to cross the ball in here. It's going to be Gallagher over it on the far side. Fantastic opportunity here. Quarter of the game to play at Wembley. Somehow still goalless. Gallagher crosses. It's a deep one to the far post. Disallowed goes for it, but it goes over his head. It'll be recollected for Chelsea through Chilwell on the opposite side, whose cross comes off Gomez, and it goes behind for a corner. And the captain for Chelsea, Chilwell, getting his fans up for it behind the goal. As they've had a lot of nervy moments to deal with here, Chelsea. A lot of defending in the second half. Gallagher will put the cross in again, but it's a false start. He'll go again. Right-footed in-swinger from Gallagher. In it goes. Flicked onto the far post, and Disallowed from a couple of yards can't turn it home. He didn't know much about it. Just bounced off his thigh and into the air and into the hands of Kelleher. The flick on there by Colwill. It's a beautiful flick on. And Disallowed literally onside as well from 3 yards out. He just tried to thigh it in, but it came off his face, I think, and into the air where Kelleher could collect ahead of Jackson. And Chelsea, another huge chance, goes missing. How is this game 0-0? I do not understand. Disallowed that time coming close. He was onside as well, played on by Bradley at the far post. But it's now Liverpool's time to attack. Diaz gets away from Gusto and Fernandes. Diaz, edge of the area. Will he strike it? He plays it through. Gakpo shoots, and it's over the bar for a goal kick. Not the best of connections there by Gakpo after a scintillating run from Diaz from the left-hand side. Finding himself in a central area, and he was just about to let fly. He almost just overran it a little bit, so had to lay it off for Gakpo in the box, who just never looked confident when striking that. Cody Gakpo, the Dutch striker, who has never previously scored against Chelsea in his 4 appearances against them. And it looks like Liverpool are going to bring on one of their lesser experienced players. It's going to be number 42, Bobby Clark, the central midfielder, to come on very shortly. Headed forward by Canate, from the ball forward by Petrovic. It's now with Gomez, back to Kelleher in the 18-yard box, being closed down by Jackson, just about clears it away from the Senegalese striker. Straight to Elliott, what a touch, that is on halfway. Inside to Bradley, latches onto the ball, tries to play it through towards Gakpo, cut out by Colwill. And he's had a better game. He started off nervy, Levi Colwill, but he's grown into it and he's having a fantastic run. The ball drops for Nkunku. Gallagher back out to Colwill in a left-wing position here. Can he get beyond Joe Gomez? He can. What a run. Colwill to the byline. He crosses it in to the edge of the box. Palmer finds Gusto in the corner of the box on the right-hand side. Low ball in, and it's dealt with by Van Dijk. And out for a throw-in next to the corner flag on the far side for Chelsea, who are still in the game. Gusto takes the throw-in for Palmer. Kicks it off McAllister. Another throw-in here for Chelsea to take. Palmer back to Gusto from the throw-in. Gallagher out to Palmer. in the final third, moving away from McAllister, finding the ball to the left of Fernandes, forward here for Gusto, lays it off for Gallagher, lifts a ball into the far post, but no one's there. That's where they lack the quality there, and maybe it's just the quality that Gallagher just doesn't quite have in that attacking midfield position. But it's going to be a Liverpool change. Connor Bradley, who's had to play right wing in this final after the substitute of Joe Gomez on for Gravenberch, who was injured in the 20th minute. And it will be Bobby Clark to come on. This is only his 9th Liverpool appearance. 7 of them now have come in the first team this season. He did feature off the bench in the semi-final second leg against Fulham. What a huge moment for him, the 19-year-old. Turned 19 this month on the 7th of February. And it's a lot of trust put into him there by Jurgen Klopp. In all honesty, Jurgen Klopp doesn't really have many other options, but still, to choose Bobby Clark is quite the compliment. It's McAllister, forward for Diaz on the left-hand side, through for Gakpo, in the box, lifts it to the far post towards Elliott. It's well defended by Nkunku, covering in the left-back position there, the number 18, but he loses out to Elliott, who plays it back inside towards Clark. Dispossessed there by Enzo Fernandez. Ball forward, cut out by McAllister, can't find Gallagher. Elliott on the right wing, he's got Clark out wide, finds him, one-on-one with Chilwell. Clark can cross it off Chilwell, and out for a corner. Quickly involved in the game there, Bobby Clark, number 42 for Liverpool. Working a corner, and it's McAllister and Robertson who's going over to take it. It's going to be an outswinger from the right boot of Alexis McAllister. In the ball goes, deep one, far post, Canate heads it in, needs to be cleared, header away from Chilwell on the edge of the 6-yard box, drops here for Palmer, who can volley it away towards Nkunku, tackled fairly there by Gomez, headed into the air though by Endo. Eventually, it's a bit of head tennis, it's controlled by Caicedo, who's shoved to the ground by Clark, nothing given by the referee. Clark tries to slip it through in the box for Gakpo, well cut out by Disasi, who chips it down the right here for Palmer, controls it well, and gets away from Robertson. Cole Palmer can't get away from the slide challenger. McAllister on halfway. And it's a throw-in for Chelsea on the far side. Felt like Bobby Clark maybe could have gone on his own there. But instead tried to slip it through for Gakpo in the box. And still 0-0 here at Wembley. The last 2 finals between these two sides, which were both in 2022, also ended 0-0. And both went to penalties. And they were both won by Liverpool. Here's Colwill on halfway, bringing it forward. Playing out to the left-hand side here now to Chilwell. Goes back into Colwill, midway side of the Liverpool half. Nkunku, back to Colwill. Gallagher to Nkunku. Colwill again. Nice bit of passing play here from Chelsea. He goes back here to Enzo Fernandez on the halfway line. Switches it. Beautiful ball. That is fantastic. Controlled by Gusto. He wants to cross early. Decides to play it to Palmer instead. Then back into Gusto. Not on the angle for the cross. So goes to Caicedo. Then out to the right to Palmer. One-on-one here with Robertson. Cole Palmer in the area. Low ball into Gallagher off the post. And it needs to be dealt with and McAllister can clear it. How on earth have we not had a goal? Conor Gallagher, I don't think he knew too much about it. It was whipped in with some speed by Palmer and he just worked it to the far post and it's come off the woodwork. With the pace of the pass there from Palmer, Gallagher's done well to manoeuvre his body into a shape where he could just send the ball towards goal. But off the left-hand post and away for Liverpool. Both sides now have hit the woodwork as Endo's brought down there by Jackson. And it is a free kick for Liverpool. Kelleher was beaten as well. Flat-footed on the ground. Just was watching that ball and just had all fingers crossed that he would hit the post or go wide, and it hit the woodwork for Liverpool instead. Elliott headed back towards Gomez. cut out by Nkunku, finds the ball to the midfield here to Enzo Fernandez in his own half. Caicedo, being closed down by McAllister, goes back here to Colwill, forward to Gallagher. Touch just gets away from him, and he loses out to Bobby Clark. And Liverpool now have it on the halfway line with Joe Gomez. And we know this season Liverpool have been full of goals. They've scored 100 now in all competitions this season, which is just tremendous from Liverpool to score so many. There's a switch out to Elliott on the right by Diaz. Finds him just outside the box at the moment. Harvey Elliott on his left foot, clips the ball into the far post to Robertson, heads it across, looking for Clark. Header won by Colwill, kept alive by Diaz. McAllister turns straight into Gusto, and Chelsea try and break. Palmer forward for Jackson on the Chelsea right here, being chased down by Canate, who gets a vital touch to it. And it's a Chelsea throw in midway side the Liverpool half on the far side, thrown in quickly to the feet of Cole Palmer, who's running 1-on-1 with Robertson. Keeps it away from him and plays a low ball into the box. Goes through for Gallagher, who can turn but can't shoot. Tackled by Van Dijk, and it's cleared into the air by Liverpool, and it'll be recycled forward now through Levi Colwill. And it still remains goalless here at Wembley. 0-0 still. But both teams have had massive chances to win this game. Caicedo out to the right here to Gallagher, who's just drifted out to the wide area here for Chelsea. Goes into Gusto, then back to the halfway line now to Disasi. Colwill, not being pressed by a red shirt, so just relaxes on the ball. Finds Fernandez. Switch out to the right. It's a high ball. It's a bit too ballooned, I think. Yeah, and over the head of Cole Palmer. And that is a throw-in for Liverpool on the far side. Chelsea last won a final here was back in 2018 when they beat Manchester United in the FA Cup final by a goal to 0. But since then they've lost their last 5 Wembley finals. They have won it back here from the throw-in, taking it off Gakpo. Palmer through towards Gallagher, cut out by Clark, but they still battle together for it, and Clark does come out with it. But then he gives it away, but the pass deflects very thankfully there for McAllister. And then chipped down the line by Robertson, looking for Diaz. Comes off the back of Disasi into Gakpo. Then back into Diaz, who will sprint down the left-hand side. He's got Gusto following him all the way. Diaz still has it. Gets himself in the area towards the byline. Cuts back. And shapes up 1-on-1 with Gusto. And plays it across to the edge of the area to McAllister. On once more to Elliott. Now into the path of Gomez, who strikes it towards goal. And a man who's still searching for his first ever Liverpool goal had to keep waiting. There's the Joe Gomez shot there, was straight at Petrovic. Lacked that real power as well. It was an easy catch in the end there for the Serbian goalkeeper. And with just over 10 minutes left, still available for both sides to win. Petrovic, ball out to the left, just goes beyond halfway. Headed forward by Gomez. It'll be Endo to miss the ball there, but it'll be Clark to help him out to get it ahead of Chilwell. And then Clark finds Endo. Forward into Clark on this near side for Liverpool. Finds Elliott. Switch out to the left. Cut out by the head of Gusto. Forward towards Caicedo, who will beat McAllister to it. And that'll be a free kick for Chelsea in the centre circle. And there'll be a yellow card there for the Argentine. It's been a real battle, by the way, them two, who were former teammates of last season. McAllister and Caicedo. They've had some spicy challenges between the two of them. And yeah, that's a rightly given yellow card. Just catching the thigh there of Caicedo. McAllister for Liverpool. The World Cup winner, who scored against Poland in the group stages, but then provided an assist for Di Maria, I believe, in the final of the World Cup just over a year ago. He's now back in the Chelsea half with Colwill. Finds Caicedo being closed down by Gakpo. Forced the ball over the top here towards Nkunku, who heads it into Jackson. Flag stays down. Jackson's touch is not very good, and it's taken away from him by Canate. And it's now out to the right, now to Elliott, who goes beyond the halfway line. Checks back onto his left foot. Harvey Elliott needs to release it. Eventually does, going back to Canate inside the centre circle. Plays it into the space of Virgil van Dijk, who thought he'd put Liverpool ahead with half an hour to play. But his goal was disallowed for offside. After Endo was in an offside position, he blocked off Colwill, who then couldn't defend against the Van Dijk header. Down the left flank it goes for Diaz in the final third. He's being stood up here with Caicedo, plays it inside to Robertson, who puts it across. And no one's there to attack it. It will drop to the opposite side to Elliott. Edge of the area now is Gomez. Crosses in. Header won by Colwill. Drops for Endo, who wants to strike it. Blocked by the stomach of Colwill, who then tackles Gomez fairly. But then a good tackle by Canate, but it came off his arm. And it'll be a yellow card for the Frenchman. Seemed like he'd won the ball there cleanly, Canate. But I think it did just come off his arm. If you are new, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic hit. It's actually, I think he went in a bit late there, Canate. Fernandez kicked it onto Canate, who then looked like he also handled it as well. But the yellow card's been given and he didn't have too many complaints. As we are now back underway with Disallowed at right centre-back, just inside his own half. Out to the right now to Gusto, midway side of the Liverpool half, driving forward with it. He's got Cole Palmer inside. Goes down the line instead to Palmer, who made a move out wide, but then ran out of pitch and out of play for a Liverpool throw-in. Usually better than that, Cole Palmer, who does have the 3 League Cup goals, one for Manchester City against Wickham on September 2021, but then did score twice in the second leg against Middlesbrough in that 6-1 win at Stamford Bridge. It's back with Chelsea, won by Caicedo in the midfield. It's now with the right centre-half of Disallowed. Pass is intercepted by McAllister, and it's a throw-in for Chelsea, just inside their own half, with right-back Gusto, who throws it into the midfield to Fernandez. His pass to Gallagher. He loses it to Canate, but wins it back to Caicedo, who shifts it to Palmer on the right-hand side here. Palmer, edge of the area, scoops across to the far post. Chilwell will keep it alive here, just outside the area. Back to the Liverpool goal, and finds Enzo Fernandez. He goes to his right to Caicedo. Back into Fernandez once again. He's now on the halfway line with Colwill. Forward to Caicedo quickly. Running behind by Gusto. He's going to be looked for. They find him. He gets it across. And Kunku in the far post. Just goes out of play. Too tight of an angle, and the Frenchman couldn't keep it in. It's a superb ball in behind there by Caicedo. And the ball across from Gusto. Just slightly too strong there for Nkunku, who did all he could to keep it in. But out of play it went. And Liverpool have stayed in the game here at 0-0. Six minutes of the 90 to play, plus any added on time we get, and we could have the possibility of extra time, another half an hour on top. So Liverpool have it in the Chelsea half on the far side with Robertson, forced to go back to the halfway line to Van Dijk after press from Gusto. Canate driving forward 10 yards and playing a pass into Gakpo, who can't keep it away from Disallowed. Fernandez forward to Jackson, who loses out to Endo, who brings it forward here for Liverpool. Lays it 5 yards to his left to McAllister. Now out to the left wing here to Diaz, who gets onto his right foot. 25 yards out, tries to square the ball to Elliott. Cut out by Fernandez. His ball drops here to Jackson, who finds Fernandez on the return. On the halfway line, has to hold up the ball here. And finds Palmer, who's away on the right-hand side. Cole Palmer, he's got Gallagher over to the left. He finds him. Gallagher takes the touch, strikes it. Big save from Kelleher. You feel like that chance has got to go for Chelsea. Brilliant play from Palmer on that right-hand side to play the ball across to the left to Gallagher, who in the box, took the right first touch, but the finish wasn't up to the standard required. And it was a save from Kelleher, who came out quickly to close down the angle. And again, still, it is 0-0 here. Elliott loses out on the edge of the box there to Chilwell. It's now Enzo Fernandez, twisting and turning away from Elliott and avoiding the challenge from behind from Gakpo. And playing over the top here for Jackson, who's in behind. Canate's chasing him down. Jackson, can he get the shot away? Loses his footing, back to his feet, falls backwards to Gallagher, who shoots, and it's just gone wide. Was there a deflection by Van Dijk? I'm not sure. But what a ball that is from Fernandez, because Jackson's onside. Played on from Canate, who had to cover his centre-back partner of Van Dijk, who was trying to keep the line high. But Canate forced him away from goal, and he laid it off to the edge of the box to Gallagher, who's had 2 chances in quick succession. The first one was well saved from Kelleher, and the second one he couldn't find the target. It's going to be a triple change here for Liverpool. Andy Robertson, who's recently been returning from injury, will be replaced by another returnee of Kostas Tsimikas, who's been injured with a collarbone break in the game against Arsenal at Anfield. But he's been back now in the first team for the last 2 weeks. And he's off the bench today. And some more youngsters for Liverpool, because that's all they've got on the bench. These youngsters, that's why they didn't want the game to go beyond 90, and it looks like it might go that way. So Robertson off for Tsimikas, McAllister replaced by James McConnell, and Gakpo up front replaced by striker Jadon Danns, who's only making his second first-team appearance. His first one came in the week against Luton off the bench late on. But Jadon Danns does have the 16 goals this season, playing for both the under-18s and the under-21s. But you've got to see this is a huge chance now for Chelsea, seeing these youngsters replacing the senior players, and Liverpool are now weaker. These youngsters are inexperienced on the big stage like this for sure. But is Liverpool to play out from the back? Midway side their own half to Canate. Back to the edge of the box here to Kelleher, who's looking for his third clean sheet of the season. Van Dijk looking over the top, down the left for Danns. Volleyed away by Gusto. Goes beyond Tsimikas there for Liverpool, but picked back up in the midfield by McConnell, who keeps it in and plays it down the line. Looking for Danns, who will chase it down. But Gusto gets there first, goes back to his goalkeeper, Petkovic, who doesn't quite meet the clearance very well. And then headed forward by McConnell. Back through for Danns, who's come back from an offside position. And that will be a free kick, I presume. Play continued, and Danns worked the shot away. But no, I'm presuming the flag went up, but the referee played advantage. And it's Chelsea on the ball with Fernandes. Goes to the edge of the area now to Disasi. Across to Colwill, who's been at the club since under-9 level. Levi Colwill joined in 2011. Signed a new 6-year contract in August of last year. Chilwell down the line for Nkunku. Brilliant ball. Into the final third now. 1-on-1 with Canate. Tries to cross it early. Comes off the big Frenchman. But he goes back towards Nkunku's touch is heavy. Falls to Clark, who goes in heavy. Chilwell goes in heavy on Clark. And it's a throw-in for Liverpool, as it's going to be a Chelsea change. It's an interesting change. I'm sure that's the wrong number. I think they want 23, not 26. Can't be wanting to substitute Colwill for Mudryk. It's 15 instead. How wrong did they get that? So it's Nicholas Jackson to come off, who's been playing on the left-hand side since the introduction of Nkunku. So Nicholas Jackson will be replaced by Mikhailo Mudryk, who is one of the main reasons Chelsea are in this final. That late equaliser in the quarter-final against Newcastle kept them in the competition, and then they eventually won that on penalties. So we replaced it, Jackson, by Mudryk, who has not started any of the last 6 in the Premier League. And this is his first minutes in football. He's not come off the bench in the last 3 at all. So he might be a little bit rusty, Mudryk. As Liverpool go long, looking for Danns up front, who's going to be a bit of a handful, I think, up front for Chelsea. He's going to be full of energy, but he's dealt with there by Disasi. Now Colwill in the 18-yard box, out to the left of Disasi. Clears it first time with his right foot, looking in behind for Nkunku. Controlled on halfway by Canate, who sent it back in behind, but Danns was coming back from an offside position. So it'll be a ball through to the goalkeeper, Petkovic. We have played 90 minutes here, and we're going to have 6 added on at Wembley, as we still search for the winner here. Chilwell keeps it in somehow, and it's inside to Fernandes. Deflected pass, loops up to Caicedo, can't quite control it very well, and his boot goes high on Diaz, and it's a free kick for Liverpool on halfway. Who will come out on top here in this League Cup final in 2024? On paper, you just think it's another 0-0 between Liverpool and Chelsea. What's new? But we've had a Chelsea disallowed goal. We've had a Liverpool disallowed goal. We've had we've had Gakpo hit the post for Liverpool. Gallagher's hit the post for Chelsea. Caicedo in behind for Gallagher. Storming away. The touch needs to be good. He can't quite take it under control. He's forced out wide. Taken over by Mudryk. In the box. Crosses. And Nkunku can't take it under control. And the loose ball drops to Gomez, who can clear away for Chelsea. Through to left back Chilwell on halfway. And Chelsea, and added on time, are looking for the winner. It's now with Disasi. Palmer. Caicedo in the centre circle. Goes across to the left here to Colwill. It's now Chilwell at left back. Finds Colwill again. Forward to Fernandez. Out to the right centre half for Disasi, who brings the ball into the Liverpool half through a pass to Gusto. Back into Disasi again, just keeping the ball here, Chelsea, for the moment, as we are running out of time here. Fernandez drives the ball forward, midway inside the Liverpool half, tries to get out to the right, deflects to Caicedo. Gusto could be in behind, but he goes short instead to Palmer. Cole Palmer pokes it through into the area, and Nkunku takes it on. Big block, Palmer strikes, saved. Gusto across, blocked, and Nkunku always saved to Kelleher. How has that not gone in? Kelleher throws it quickly, cut out by Disasi. It will be kept in here by Palmer, who deflects it off Tsimikas, a corner for Chelsea. And how on earth have they not nicked it late there? Palmer found Nkunku, big block from Konate. Palmer's shot was saved. Gusto across, came off Gomez, straight to Nkunku, swung at it with his left boot, but hit it straight at the goalkeeper, who then gave the ball away through a quick throw. And it's now Chelsea with the corner. It'll be a left-footed in-swinger from their captain, Chilwell. Two arms in the air for Chilwell. He crosses the ball in. Punched by Kelleher. Taken away from Gusto by Diaz. And he charges away. Counter-attacks on. Diaz running forward. They just need to take him down. But he feeds out to the left to Elliott. Back through towards Diaz. In the box. Being held up here by 3 Chelsea shirts. And is eventually tackled by Gallagher, who can't quite clear it. Back to Diaz. He's then tackled by Caicedo. Works out to the right to Palmer, who has been brought down there by Diaz. Surely he has, and that'll be a free kick for Chelsea in a right-back area. Very dangerous there for Liverpool. We've got 2.5 minutes of the 6 added on left to play here. And it's Chilwell on the ball. Down the left flank, Mudryk will chase it in behind. He will beat Gomez. Oh, he can't beat Gomez to it because he can't take it under control. But Gomez's pass is short, taken away by Enzo Fernandez. Heavy touch to Clark, taken away from him by Mudryk, who was fouled in the process. Free kick for Chelsea, taken quickly down the line here for Gallagher. Back into Fernandez in the final third. Can't get it through the legs of Clark. Deflects to Elliott, who relaxes the play, and then it's hurried away by McConnell. Nowhere near Dan's up front for Liverpool. And Fernandez can keep it in down the line, but no one's there to chase it for Chelsea. Through for Gomez, and it's Liverpool back in possession with Kelleher in the 18-yard box. It's Liverpool who are fighting on all 4 fronts. Top of the league at the moment by a point. Still in the Europa League. Currently battling it out in the League Cup final, and they're still in the FA Cup in the 5th round, where they've got to play Southampton in 3 days' time. Still with Liverpool inside their own half. Chelsea feel like they're almost out of energy to do any real pressing at the moment. It's with Virgil van Dijk midway inside his own half. It's now with Kelleher on the edge of the box. Plays it to Konate to his right. He's got Gomez as an option. Instead tries to go a bit further than that towards Dan's. Cut out by Chilwell. Kept in by the left back and cleared forward. Nkunku coming back from an offside position. So it goes through for Kelleher. He's been closed down by Gallagher and just about clears it in time. Straight to Palmer, who can control it and tries to take it away from Endo, but he's tackled, and it's now with Clark in the midfield. And worked out to the right to Gomez. Elliott, inside his own half, tries to go over the top there, but he deflects to Caicedo in the centre circle. Forward for Gallagher. Turns Konate. Goes down under the challenge. Nothing. Eventually something's given, and that is a Chelsea free kick. Even at this moment in the game, Gallagher had the energy to pull off that turn on Konate and win the free kick. And we're about to hit the 6 added on. And it'll be Chelsea to have one last go at getting this ball in the box and scoring the winner. The free kick is slap bang in the middle of the pitch. So no real angle here for Chilwell, who's stood over it at the moment. It looks like they're going to aim for Disasi on the right-hand side of the box. It goes short to Palmer, who then swings the ball in, and it goes all the way through. It's a good cross. If Colwill attacks it, he may have been able to keep that in. but it's gone all the way through and behind for a goal kick, and that will be that for the League Cup final so far. After 102 minutes in total of football within the two halves of the game, it is Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. It's a bit of a head scratcher to try and think of how this is still 0-0. Chelsea had a goal disallowed in the first half through Sterling. Liverpool had a goal disallowed through Van Dijk. Gakpo's hit the post for Liverpool. Gallagher's hit the post for Chelsea. Both sides have had unbelievable chances. Somehow we've not had a goal that has stood. And here in the League Cup final, we're going to extra time. It finishes Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. We continue in the League Cup final. I'm as amazed as I've ever been this season of how we're goalless. It's been a very entertaining League Cup final, but we've still not found a winner yet. So we'll be getting extra time in a couple of minutes, where it is still 0-0 here. We could even go to penalties like we have the last two finals between these two sides. I'm trying to think of the last goal we had between these two in a final. And I think it was back in 2012. Andy Carroll, I think, is the last goal scorer, because the last two finals in 2022 were 0-0, and the last final before that was the FA Cup in 2012. Chelsea won 2-1 on the 5th of May 2012. Ramirez scored in the first half. Drogba doubled the lead in the second half, and then Carroll got one back. So I genuinely think it's been just under 12 years since we last had a goal in a final between these two, and it was Andy Carroll when he was at Liverpool in 2012. It's been an unbelievable 0-0. But we'll be getting the first half of extra time underway in a couple of moments, where Liverpool have had to call upon their youth on the bench. A lot of them are on the pitch at the moment. James McConnell, Bobby Clark and Jayden Danns are the three youngsters who are on. The three teenagers. And they've also brought on Tsimikas and Gomez within the game as well. And the only worrying thing about a game like this is the fact that, as I mentioned, we've added on time from the first half and the second half. These players have played 102 minutes. They're about to play another half an hour, which is 130 minutes, plus any added on time within that. So we could be having, these players could be playing 135 minutes of football. So I hope we just don't get a slow-paced extra time. We could, because players might take their foots off the gas here and just try and reserve some energy, because a lot of them might not have any energy in them. So yeah, it could be an interesting extra time if we can get both teams playing the same way with the same energy, but I doubt it, because they have just been playing for over 100 minutes there in this League Cup final so far. But if we have got any extra time predictions, put them in the chat. I'd love to know what you guys think will happen next in this game, as it seems very unpredictable, because Chelsea have been well in this game as it starts to drizzle at Wembley Stadium in this League Cup final. As Chris Kavanagh here meets with Virgil van Dijk and Ben Chilwell, the two captains for today's team. So I think they were just organising who plays at what end for the first half. And we've got that all sorted as Virgil van Dijk is commanding a team huddle before the start of this extra 30 minutes of football we've got here at Wembley. I'm not sure if each team get an extra sub now, with the fact we've gone to extra time, because Liverpool have already used all 5. Chelsea have just used the 2 so far with Mudryk and Nkunku. So both sides are currently in a little team huddle, as it's a winnable game for both. That is for sure. As it looks like we're about to get back underway here. It will be Chelsea to kick us off. So yeah, it'll be Chelsea kicking left to right, Liverpool right to left. It is Chelsea with kick-off for the first 15 minutes. It'll be Enzo Fernandez to get us back underway here. As we are being treated to an extra half an hour. Ball goes back to Colwill. Forward towards Nkunku, loses out to Van Dijk, but the header goes straight through for Caicedo, who works it to Chilwell. Down the left-hand side, it's a high ball. It's hooked away by Gomez, thrown for Chelsea in the final third. Quick start for the team in blue. And it'll be taken by Chilwell. He throws it back towards the halfway line here to Levi Colwill. Disasi bringing it forward, looking down the Chelsea right here, lays it off for Gusto, who will be forced to go back and across here to Caicedo, who's got Colwill to his left, finds him. Colwill forward to Caicedo and out to the left of Chilwell. It's risky, but it worked for Chelsea. Chilwell, another lifted ball in behind, and Nkunku will chase it. Van Dijk will deal with it, finds Gomez with the pass down the line for Elliott. What a turn that is, and plays it to his left to McConnell, who turns, needs to get the pass here. Slows the game down and finds the right back of Joe Gomez on halfway. Midway side the Liverpool half now with Van Dijk. Canate brings it forward here. And then back it goes to Van Dijk, who's midway side his own half here as Chelsea just sit back at the moment. Remember, these two teams have been at it for over 100 minutes already. There's McConnell. Sees the ball out to the right to Elliott. It's into his space. He's asking a lot of him, but he will get there. It's a brilliant pass right on the corner flag. Elliott quickly onto his left foot and crosses towards Dan's. Headed away by Colwill. Needs to be dealt with at the far post. Gusto goes down. Diaz tackled. Palmer keeps it in, and Gusto can eventually clear on the byline. And it's back with Liverpool with Endo. Slight little scare there for Chelsea as the ball was crossed in by Elliott. And it was dealt with by Colwill, and it had to be put away by Palmer in the end. It's with Clark for Liverpool on this near side. Back out to McConnell. Looking for that right-footed pass. He goes across the pitch here to Canate. He's on the edge of the centre circle at the moment. So Elliott. Down the line for Gomez. Loads of room. Mudryk's trying to close him down. He does very quickly. And he pokes it away for a corner. Good working back there from Mykhailo Mudryk as Joe Gomez almost had the chance for a free cross there. As an extra time so far, it's probably been Liverpool who have looked the better side. They've been the team who have been on the ball the most. Even though we've only played 3 minutes of this extra time period. Ball in. It's a deep one towards Van Dijk. Header one, I think, there by Colwill. Drops to McConnell on the edge of the box. Back to Gomez and out to the left to Clark. On a little bit of an angle, he clips it out towards Elliott on the right. In the area, loses out to a big header from Chilwell. Always finds Elliott, who puts it in towards the far post. To Van Dijk, who heads it across. Dan's with the header, and it's a great save from Petrovic. Had to tip it over as the header was aiming towards the top left corner of the goal. Jadon Dan's the youngster. Really working the neck muscles to get the power on that header. To work Petrovic to make a fantastic save. I'm not quite sure if it was going underneath the crossbar. But that is a brilliant header from Jadon Dan's, who only turned 18 last month in January. And he's almost just become a Liverpool icon here. It'll be a left-footed outswinger from Kostas Tsimikas. As it goes deep again to the far post, over Dan's. And it goes through for Elliott on the right-hand side. can recycle it into the box. Low ball instead to McConnell, who gets the ball across. It's deflected off Gallagher. And they'll go for a Liverpool throw-in in the final third on the far side. Not a bad idea there from James McConnell, but he was well blocked by Gallagher. It's now back on the halfway line here for Liverpool with Ibrahima Konate. He lets Kelleher take over. Shows how far he's come out of his 18-yard box there. It's now on the near side here with Tsimikas. Back it goes into Virgil van Dijk, who has not been pressed at the moment. She's got plenty of time on the ball. Finds Bobby Clark. Ball forward, aiming towards Diaz. Goes through for Disasi instead, whose clearance is poor. Straight to Diaz. Towards the byline. He goes back instead here to Clark. Inside to Dans. In the area. Turns away from Fernandez. Dans. Edge of the box to McConnell. Forward here for Clark. Touches it inside. Plays out to the left towards Tsimikas. It's just too far ahead of him. And it can be dealt with there by Cole Palmer. Good defending from the young winger. As Konate will have to chase this as he's getting Mudryk behind him. Finds Kelleher. He goes forward to Endo, who can turn and play it out to the right here to Konate. And forward to Joe Gomez on the halfway line. Switches it to the left. It's a big switch, but it's one that will work. Controlled by Diaz. Forces himself slightly more wide than he would have wanted to be. But he plays it into the box. Clark. McConnell taken off him by Gallagher. But then won back by Diaz. And he's been brought down by Gallagher instead. And that'll be a free kick for Liverpool. And Chelsea are going to make their third change here. Noni Madueke will replace Conor Gallagher here, who has been nothing but a threat for Chelsea. He's hit the post in the game. He's also had an attempt saved by Kelleher near the end. He's been fantastic, but I think he's just run his race here with the amount of distance he would have covered. So Conor Gallagher will be replaced here by Noni Madueke. So that might see Cole Palmer take up a more central position maybe. And Madueke will go out wide. But eventually as Gallagher makes his way off, he'll be replaced by Madueke. So the change has been made. One Englishman out and one back in at Tsimikas. This free kick's about 30 yards out, just to the left-hand side. One-man wall for Chelsea. So it probably will be a cross, but if Tsimikas wants to be cheeky, he could shoot here, but he'll go for the cross, and it's just overhit. Goes through to Konate, who recycle it back into the area, and it's well held, well caught there by Petrovic. He's looking for the counter-attack. Quickly throws it out to Palmer on the right-hand side. He's got Gusto in support. Palmer instead goes across the pitch. It's a great ball. No, it's not. It's been caught out there by Elliott. Finds Endo in the centre circle. In the Chelsea half, it's Liverpool back on the ball. It's now with Tsimikas. Van Dijk on halfway. As the play just relaxes ever so slightly. McConnell keeps it away from Caicedo. Finds Van Dijk. It's now with Kelleher, midway side his own half. Out to the left it goes now to McConnell, who seems very calm on the ball, despite being so young at 19, making just his 7th appearance for Liverpool's first team. 4 of them now have come this season and they've all been off the bench. Tsimikas looks for Diaz, finds him on the edge of the area, lifts the ball to the far post. Elliott strikes it into the side netting. Could have caught that one better. Kicked it into the ground, and even if he had worked that on target, Harvey Elliott, I think it was well covered there by George Petrovic. Yeah, didn't quite catch it as he would have wanted to. Not too far away, but it's definitely Liverpool, the team dominating this extra time period after 8.5 minutes. Petrovic to the left centre back of Colwill, just about keeps it under control and works it to Chilwell ahead of Elliott. Chilwell goes down over the challenge of Bobby Clark, and that'll be a free kick in a left back position for Chelsea. Won by Chilwell. As it'll be Petrovic to take this free kick. He'll launch it into the Chelsea half. Forward it goes, up towards Nkunku. Header won by Canate. Flick forward by McConnell, away from Dans. And it'll be a Chelsea throw-in, just inside their own half. With Chilwell throwing it backwards here towards his own goal to Levi Colwill. It's now in the 18-yard box for Petrovic. Back out to the left of Colwill. His touch isn't great, but it's away from Dans. And he puts it down that left channel for Nkunku to chase it, but it curls out of the pitch. And it's a throw-in midway inside their own half here for Liverpool on that right-hand side. It's now on the halfway line with Dans, finding McConnell. Now Gomez at right back, switching it out to the left to Tsimikas. Madueke will press him, but Tsimikas will work it down the left-hand side to Diaz, who's got loads of room here. He'll work one-on-one with gusto. Diaz entering the box on the outside, pulls it across with the finish that's been taken away from him. Colwill, what a vital clearance that was. It looked like it was going to be an easy finish for Jadon Dans, but Colwill got in the way and cleared, and Chelsea deal with it, and they're on the ball now with Palmer. Nearly got away from Tsimikas, was pushed down once Tsimikas realised that Palmer was getting away from him. But that's really good defending from Colwill. As it's Chelsea on the ball, on the near side with Madueke, charging towards the final third. Goes back into Gusto. Then back forward into Madueke. Now in the final third, Tsimikas is alongside him for Liverpool. Madueke goes on the outside of the Greek full-back, and then is he brought down? No, he isn't. It's a goal kick. I thought Tsimikas may have caught Madueke, but the referee says no, goal kick given. As those Liverpool supporters are in full voice, as it is their team at the moment in charge of the extra time. So Kelleher to take the resulting goal kick. It's with Endo. Playing it forward towards Dans. Just gets away from the young striker and through to the right back Gusto. It's now with Colwill inside the Chelsea half here. Looking for his pass. Goes into the midfield to Fernandes. Back to the goalkeeper of Petrovic. Who will find Disasi on the edge of the box to his right. Petrovic again in the 6-yard box. Clips it out to the left, looking for Chilwell, who will control it nicely with his chest and find Colwill in the corner of the box. And then plays a low ball forward, straight to Endo. Touch isn't great, taken away from him by Mudryk. It's now Fernandes to take over. Fernandes playing out to the left to Nkunku. Counter-attack on here for Chelsea. Nkunku running at the defensive Liverpool and plays it across. It's dealt with by Van Dijk, who clears for the throw-in, I presume, on that far side. Just needed a better ball there from Christopher Nkunku, who has won 2 German Cups with Leipzig and scored in both finals. I think it might be a Chelsea corner, you know. I thought that had curled out for a throw-in, but it's gone as a corner. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger here from the Ukrainian Mudryk. In it goes, near post, header won by Tsimikas to the edge of the area where Bobby Clark loses out to Chilwell, headed away by Canate. It eventually drops here to Tsimikas, who can see Diaz out wide left, then they try and play it towards him, but it's cut out on halfway by Madueke. Good defending there from the winger, who will then do his business in that position he loves, in that right wing area. Drives in on the inside, then back on the outside, on his right foot, squares it towards Palmer, cut out by the right foot of Van Dijk. And now Liverpool can try and break Dans with the heavy touch, tackled by Fernandes. Palmer plays it to his left here to Caicedo, midway side the Liverpool half. It's back to Fernandes. It's now with the left back of Chilwell. Switched out to the right to Madueke. Touch is okay. Keeps it away from Tsimikas at left back. Madueke through for Gusto in the box, to the byline, pulls it across, touch from Nkunku, he wants to turn and shoot, he tries to, and he does get the shot off, but it's eventually blocked by Van Dijk. And it's a corner on the near side here for Chelsea, who have put Liverpool under a little bit of pressure here at the end of this first spell of extra time. It'll be Chilwell to deliver the ball in with his left foot. Can they make this one count? Chilwell crosses. It's a very deep one to Disallowed. He will nod it to the edge of the box here to Gusto. He will get himself out to the left-hand side. Finds Disallowed again, who wants to try and shoot if possible, but goes back instead to Fernandes, who will lift the ball into the area. Flicked on by Palmer and into the gloves of Kelleher, who throws it out quickly into the space for Tsimikas to latch onto. And he'll drive the ball forward here, Tsimikas, into the Chelsea half. Finds Diaz, who then goes back to McConnell for Liverpool. He then goes forward on the halfway line here to Endo. 1 minute added on here at the end of the first half of extra time. Gomez goes for a very early crossing towards Dan's, and it's an easy catch there for Petrovic. Quickly off his line there to spoil any party there for Liverpool with a goal. Gusto, low ball forward for Palmer. Down the Chelsea right inside their own half. Palmer turns forward and plays a pass for Fernandes, who gets there in a McConnell, who's then challenged by McConnell, and he keeps it in. Tsimikas does, and goes inside to Endo. Brilliant midfield work there by McConnell. But then Caicedo does his work brilliantly as well to win it off Clark in the midfield. And it's now with Madueke, who's picked up a central position here. He's going to try and go in behind for Mudryk. It's a great ball, and Kelleher's quickly off his line to clear on the edge of the box. Really good goalkeeping, because Mudryk was gone and away. Bobby Clark cuts out the short header there from Chilwell. And his clearance goes to the halfway line to Van Dijk. And before any more action can take place, the half-time whistle has been blown. That first half of extra time was dominated by Liverpool, but Chelsea also showed that they can also still nick this game if they want to. But in extra time, it is Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. We continue the search for the first goal of the game, and you can't say we haven't come close to that within the first, what have we played now? 117 minutes altogether we've played. 118 minutes altogether, including added on time at both ends, at all ends of each half. So it's definitely been a game that has lasted a very long time. So this second half of extra time might lack that energy and that pace, but you can't have a go at the players. They've been going at it fully for the entire game so far. So some players get treatment for cramp, some massages of the hamstrings. I don't see any changes look like they're going to be made. Chelsea have made 3, bringing on their 3 probably better attacking players with Mudryk, Madueke and Nkunku. But it is everyone involved here trying to get these Chelsea legs as ready as possible for another 15 minutes. So after a very short break here, looks like we're going to get back underway for another half in extra time. So it's a huge team huddle from the whole of the Chelsea squad before they go back out for this second half. Will either of these teams upset the other? It would be heartbreaking to lose it now. At any point, really. If you lose on penalties, that's probably even worse. I have been at Wembley and lost my team lose a penalty shootout, so I've been there and it's awful. But we're going to get changed for Liverpool. They're 6th of the game, but they're allowed a 1 extra as we've gone into extra time. As Ibrahima Konate, who's just clearly played all the football he can. They want some fresh legs at the back, so they've brought on 21-year-old Jarell Quansah, who spent back end of last season on loan at Bristol Rovers, but he's now making his 20th first-team appearance for Liverpool. He's played 13 full 90 minutes, but he's brought off the bench today to see through this League Cup final in extra time. As it'll be Chelsea to kick right to left, Liverpool left to right. It's the red side to kick off, with the ball going back to Quansah, who takes on Nkunku. And on the halfway line, Quansah in the possession goes forward to Endo, and then back to Van Dijk. And we are underway once again in the second half of extra time in this League Cup final, where it's Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0. Still on the halfway line now with Quansah. Finds Endo. Now with McConnell. Back to Quansah, just inside his own half. Finds Endo in the centre circle. Back to Jarell Quansah once again, who's only made the one start in the League Cup this season, Quansah, and that did come at Craven Cottage in that second leg of the semi-final, which has got Liverpool to this final, drawing that one 1-1 after a first leg win of 2-1, coming from behind in the second half. Still Liverpool on the ball, just inside their own half here with Quansah, who will bring it into the Chelsea half here. His closest enemy is Caicedo. He plays it beyond him, but it's cut out by Fernandes. Straight to McConnell, who goes to Clark. Back to McConnell, keeps it away from Palmer. Forward to Clark, turns away from Madueke, but can't get away from Caicedo, who then is fouled by Bobby Clark. And that'll be a foul for Chelsea. He is still going like it's the start of the game. Moises Caicedo, he is an absolute engine in that midfield. And it is someone that simply Chelsea can't afford to substitute. Disallowed, back to his goalkeeper, Petrovic. He's got a bit of time. Plays it to the left there to Colwill. He was just inside the 18-yard box here for Chelsea. Goes across to Caicedo. Forward to Enzo Fernandez. Around the corner to the right towards Gusto. Keeps it away from one Liverpool player and plays it to Palmer, who's been pulled back with the shirt. And that'll be the most obvious yellow card there for James McConnell. The young 19-year-old had got Palmer in front of him and knew he couldn't let him get any further away. So decided to grab his shirt and pull him back to make sure Palmer couldn't make any further progress in the Liverpool half. So it's a very clever tactical foul there by James McConnell. And it's one that he probably had to make. And it's Chelsea now on the ball. On the halfway line, on this near side with Chilwell at left back. Finding Colwill once again. Across to Caicedo, who's just sat in between the two centre-backs of Disallowed and Colwill. Fernandes, ball out to the right, it's away from Palmer, and it's now taken over by Diaz to Tsimikas in the final third. Turns away from goal, and then he's tackled by Madueke, and it's Chelsea to regain the ball. Gusto forward to Palmer, and Nkunku is the furthest forward. He's played a run out wide, so Fernandes is more free in the middle, and Fernandes gets it out to the right to Madueke, onto his left foot. Can he shoot? He lays it off towards Palmer and it's touched away from him by Clark. That's a waste. But he's still alive with Cole Palmer. He'll play it to Fernandes. Edge of the box. Through to the box. Mudryk. Can he strike it? He tries to cross instead and it comes off the chest of Gomez and it's a corner for Chelsea. I feel like that's just a little bit of a waste there from the team in blue. It was such a good run from Nkunku out wide to allow Palmer to play the ball inside to Enzo Fernandez, and you just feel like something more should have come from that. But it'll be a right-footed cross here from Mudryk from the corner. In it goes. Header away though by Endo. And it's to Chilwell halfway inside the Liverpool half. Finds Gusto to his right. He's been forced to go back into the Chelsea half here to Petrovic through the press of Clark. It's now Chilwell. Back to Petrovic again, and Liverpool can push up the field, and the attack and the momentum just seems to have died down a little bit for Chelsea as Petrovic goes long. It'll be a free control touch there for Gomez, who finds the ball forward here to Endo. And it's now Liverpool back in possession on halfway with McConnell. Out to the right to Clark. It's now Elliott. Into McConnell, who's now on a booking. The number 53 for Liverpool. McConnell. Spraying it out to the left towards Elliott. Gets the touch ahead of Chilwell. Keeps it away from Mudryk. And Fernandes. Really good play from Elliott. And works it to the left of Tsimikas, who's got time and space to cross it. In it goes towards Dans, who's controlled touch. Gets away from him. But he can get a challenge in and work it to McConnell. Back to Tsimikas. Onto his right foot. Doesn't fancy the cross. So plays it across to the right to Quansah, who will have to chase it down. But it's still in Liverpool possession at the moment, as they've been forced to go back into their own half here to Kelleher, who's in a full green strip tonight for Liverpool. Kelleher, left-footed ball out wide. Header won by Gusto. Into Caicedo. Gusto again. Out to Madueke to the right. Still inside the Chelsea half at the moment. Forward it goes to Palmer. Touch gets away from him. It's now with Van Dijk into Endo. In the centre circle. Plays a pass in between the line for Dans, who can try and find Diaz, but it's well intercepted by Gusto, and good feet as well from the fullback, who charges away, takes on multiple players. What a run by Gusto, and finds Madueke in space. On the far side here for Chelsea, into the final third. Gusto overlaps Madueke, but he'll go on his own. Edge of the box, he strikes it with the left foot, parried by Kelleher, and then into the hands of the Irishman. He nearly parried it straight to Nkunku, but Kelleher was quickly got up there to make sure he had that in two hands. The strike did take a slight deflection there off James McConnell, and it bounced up on Kelleher, who just couldn't quite grab it first time, but then made sure he had it the second. So another half chance there for Chelsea goes missing, as it's still 0-0 here, as we're 21 minutes into extra time. Gomez on the near side. Keeps the ball away from Mudryk. It's now inside to McConnell. He's about 10 yards inside the Chelsea half. Looking for a ball wide, but instead he's been forced to go back to Quansah. And it's now with Kelleher, midway side, his own half here. Got loads of time on the ball. Liverpool's number 62. Oh, McConnell receives it and turns beautifully away from Palmer. McConnell and away from Fernandes. The ball is free on the right towards Elliott. Good interception with a slide tackle from Chilwell, but deflects to Gomez. Back inside now to McConnell. 30 yards from goal. Goes out to the near side here to Clark. Gomez is making a run down the line, and they find him. Gomez tackled by Chilwell, and the ball will roll for a throw-in and not a corner. And it's Liverpool who are in the ascendancy at the moment, deep in the Chelsea half, as Chelsea are going to make a defensive change. Chilwell can't see the game out, the captain, and he'll give the armband here to Enzo Fernandez. And it will be Chilwell to be replaced by Trevor Chalobah. So it looks like Levi Colwill will move out to left back, and Chalobah will play at centre half here, making his only second appearance of the season, Trevor Chalobah, as he was out with a thigh injury until his return last week against Manchester City off the bench. But now he's on for the remaining time and extra time. Trevor Chalobah. So it looks like it's going to be a long delivery in from the throw-in from Joe Gomez. Gomez throws it into the 18-yard box. Header won by Disasi. Loose ball drops to McConnell. Tsimikas will go for the shot, put it straight at Petrovic. Straight down the throat. If he could have worked that maybe to a corner, Tsimikas, that could have had a different end result. But instead it's Chelsea on the ball, midway inside their own half here with Enzo Fernandez, surrounded by three red shirts, but works it to his right here to Chalobah, who's actually gone to right back, it seems, at the moment. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. It's Gusto at left back. Wow. So Gusto's gone left back and Chalobah's at right back. Interesting. Clark crosses, cut out at the near post by Caicedo. It's now with Madueke, touches it through the legs of McConnell, and he'll drive into the Liverpool half. Madueke, 1-on-1 with Van Dijk, trying to play a ball through towards Nkunku, but he didn't quite read the pass, and his run was late, and it's gone straight through for Kelleher in the Liverpool goal. Could have continued to run at Van Dijk there, Madueke. Didn't look like the Liverpool captain was ever going to commit to a challenge at any point there. As Liverpool have it out to this near side here with Joe Gomez. He's a little bit isolated. So it goes inside here to Harvey Elliott, who's joined the attack. Elliott can't get away from Enzo Fernandez. Good tackle for the Argentine. But one back by Endo ahead of Nkunku. Now Endo on the ball. Finds Diaz, who's just drifted a bit more centrally. Then working it back out wide to the left here. And finds Tsimikas, as we've got just over 5 minutes left of extra time. McConnell. Everyone behind the ball for Chelsea, bar Palmer and Nkunku. Tsimikas goes to the halfway line now to Van Dijk. Big switch out to the right and behind. It's perfect for Gomez, who chests it down as well. And finds Elliott, who's going to spray it out to the left-hand side of the box. It's been controlled here. Can they get the shot off? Clark goes back to the edge of the area to Tsimikas, who puts the ball into the far post. Header won by Elliott. Big save. Over the line. Is it? No, it's not. That is heroic from George Petrovic. It is a brilliant cross from Tsimikas with his weaker right foot. It's with his strong left foot, sorry. And it's a header that somehow has been squeezed towards goal by Elliott on the angle. Petrovic, I don't think, expected it to go on target, or did it clip the post? And eventually the ball fell into the hands of Petrovic as Dans tried to force the ball over the line. I'm not sure if that was a save or hit the post, but either way, it's a let-off for Chelsea, with Elliott winning the header free at the far post. But if he has saved that, Petrovic, that is unbelievable. But he may have clipped the post because it was a tight angle for Elliott on the right-hand side of the box. As Chelsea have got it with their back four, with Axel Disasi not being pressed at the moment. The 6'3" centre-half finds Colwill. Ball out to the left now to Gusto, who swap flanks at the moment. Finds Mudryk in the final third, running at Gomez. Plays a ball inside to the edge of the box to Palmer, who can strike it. Very timid, straight at Kelleher. Easy save for the Irish goalkeeper. He has it with his feet. Kelleher plays it forward to the edge of the box to Endo. Quickly to the left to find Van Dijk, who will stride forward here with the ball and find Tsimikas at left back. Forward for Clark. Takes on Caicedo. And Dans takes over and he scoops it through for Tsimikas. Still on the Chelsea defensive right, on the Liverpool attacking left. Tsimikas again will cross it, headed away by Disasi. Or as far as McConnell, who brings it down and plays it out to the left here to Tsimikas. Back inside to McConnell. Forward here for Clark in the area. Onto his right foot, strikes it towards goal. Does that deflect? I think it does. And that'll be a corner kick for Liverpool on the far side, on this near side. Can Liverpool break this Chelsea defence right at the dying embers of the game? Concentration levels cannot drop, or they will be punished here, Chelsea. It's Tsimikas to take it with that wand of his left foot. In it goes. Header one to the net, and it's Virgil van Dijk again to win it late. Chelsea have that lapse of concentration, and Liverpool might have just won it with minutes remaining. It's almost a carbon copy of his first that was disallowed with half an hour to play in regulation time. But this time, it's from a corner. He wins it at the near post, heads it towards the far corner, and it goes beyond the Chelsea goalkeeper. And surely, for Virgil van Dijk, this one will stand. We were edging closer and closer to penalties, but it looks like that opportunity for Chelsea has been snatched away from them with the Van Dijk header. With the youth and the inexperience currently on the pitch for Liverpool, they have not let that affect them in the slightest. So many players on the pitch at the moment who are teenagers, who lack the experience on this big stage, but they've taken to it like they've done this their whole career. But it's two of this more senior players who link up for the goal. The corner goes into Van Dijk. He glances it to the far post. It takes a nick off Disasi and into the far corner. Petrovic couldn't get there. And Virgil van Dijk, who scores his first ever goal in the League Cup, could have the winner to give Liverpool the title here at Wembley in Klopp's last dance in this competition. The goal stands, and we still have some time to go. Ball in the box from Nkunku. It drops to Madueke. Shot blocked by the head of Van Dijk. And it's cleared for a throw-in on the far right-hand side for Chelsea. Van Dijk with the goal once again. And this one has stood. Not quite sure if the deflection there off Disallowed sent the ball on target. I'm presuming it's going to go down as a Van Dijk goal as Chelsea put it in the area. Again, header away by Van Dijk. Forward by Fernandes. Another header by Van Dijk away. And it's 3 minutes added on here. And there's been something that's gone Liverpool's way. They were showing the added on time, so I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe an offside there given against Chelsea. I'm not too sure, but at least this won't end 0-0. As those Liverpool supporters are going absolutely crazy to the right-hand side of the stadium. And for Chelsea, it's complete despair for them. As they have matched Liverpool for the majority of this game. But in extra time, it has been Liverpool who have been the better team. Keller to take the free kick. Out to the Liverpool left. It'll be a header won there by Dans straight through for Petrovic in the Chelsea 18-yard box, who will pick it up and then roll it out of his area as Liverpool will sit back here and Chelsea will have to send this forward quickly. He lays it off for Enzo Fernandez on the halfway line. Just needs to get it forward. Out it goes to the left towards Gusto. Has he overcooked it? No, he hasn't. Gusto keeps it in. Ball goes into the area. Header won by McConnell. Falls for Elliott, who lifts it forward for Diaz, and the counter-attack's on. Diaz enters the Chelsea half. Goes to the left here to McConnell, to Clark, who's been fouled there by Palmer. Kick from behind, and it's a yellow card. And it's a free kick for Liverpool again. 3 minutes have been added on. We've played half of that now. And could it possibly be time up for Chelsea? Virgil van Dijk with what seems to be the winner. It's his 23rd goal for the club. It's his first ever goal against Chelsea. He hadn't scored in the previous 17 against them. As Liverpool haven't taken it quickly enough, so Gomez will go in the book. So it will be more time added on, so we'll definitely play more than the 3 added on. Is Liverpool going over the top with their time wasting there, according to the referee, Chris Kavanagh. Goes back to Kelleher from the free kick. He'll send it out to the left. It looks a bit wide, that, but it's kept in with the header of Tsimikas. Straight to McConnell, whose ball out to Dans. It's a bit overhit, and Chalobah's clearance comes off Jadon Dans. And that'll be a throw in the right-back area here for Chelsea. As he'll take it quickly, throws it into the 18-yard box here to Petrovic. It needs to go forward for Chelsea. Out to the right to Chalobah. It needs to go. It does eventually go. Into the Liverpool half. Gomez heads it straight to Mudryk, who loses out to Gomez. Forward it goes. The referee checks the whistle. And he blows it for full time. Liverpool are champions of the League Cup once again. They've had to wait 2 years to be crowned champions again. But this time they've not needed penalties. They've won it through a Virgil van Dijk header with 2 minutes left to play. It's heartbreak for Chelsea, who came ever so close to winning the title themselves for the first time in 9 years. But it's Liverpool's day. It's Liverpool's competition. And it's Liverpool who is still on for the quadruple. Extra time was just a step too far for Chelsea. We have to be fair and say that Liverpool were definitely the team who dominated the extra half an hour. And they were able to force themselves in the lead with 2 minutes to play. A corner in by Tsimikas, flicked on to the far post by Van Dijk. It went beyond Petrovic in the Chelsea goal, and they held on till the end. And Liverpool have won their 10th League Cup. It's their second under Jurgen Klopp. And on his farewell tour, he's got 1 trophy in the bag. They're still up for another 3. But this is the start they would have wanted. And it's a competition which they've had to beat Chelsea twice. Both times they could have lost it. But with their mentality and their quality, they've come out on top both times. The captain, Van Dijk, wins it with his first ever League Cup goal. And for Chelsea, they'll have to wait another year to have a crack at the League Cup. They're still in the FA Cup. They play Leeds in 3 days at home to try and reach the quarter-final stages. So they could be back here at Wembley again in the upcoming months. But for now, it's a final. They'll have to take on the chin. Chelsea have now lost their last 6 finals at Wembley. They've lost 3 FA Cup finals and 3 League Cup finals since the 2018-2019 season. It's starting to become a curse. It's starting to become a stadium they no longer want to travel to. But eventually, they'll have to win a final here. But for now, that win in a final at Wembley will just have to wait a little bit longer. In all honesty, it seemed like Chelsea just ran out of gas first. Liverpool just had that extra energy, that extra drive to go and take the game and try and win it in extra time. And they've been able to do that. But still in extra time, Chelsea had their opportunities. Half chances here and there. But it was 1 goal that separated the game, which I said at the start. I said it would be separated by a goal. I thought we'd have more goals after seeing the way the game went and how many huge chances both teams had. But it's just the 1 goal that's took it. It's Van Dijk in the 118th minute with a header that sent those Liverpool supporters absolutely crazy behind that goal. And for Klopp, it's another trophy in the cabinet. It's his 4th trophy that he's won in a final against Chelsea. He's beat them in 2 League Cup finals, in an FA Cup final, and the Super Cup final. And what a moment for those Liverpool supporters. Because they're the supporters who have to travel here. They're the ones who have to travel far. But it is almost becoming a second home for these players under Klopp, who finally, as well, for Liverpool, wins a trophy for a second time, for the first time. Every other trophy that Klopp's won, he's only won 1 of. He's won 1 Premier League, he's won 1 FA Cup, he'd won 1 Champions League, was 1 League Cup, but now he's 2. But for Liverpool, they'll know this isn't it. They know they can celebrate tonight, but tomorrow it's focused on the FA Cup because they'll want to go through all of them. But they'll enjoy this one, they'll cherish it, they'll celebrate it, and then they'll definitely just go again. A long commentary for you, mate, but it was great. Cheers, thank you very much. It was a long one. How long have we been going for? I don't even know. Sorry, I'll just turn my own stream on. 3 hours, wow. Yeah, I can feel it. But we are commentating tomorrow before you do go anywhere. We are commentating on Coventry against Maidstone in the FA Cup 5th round, so make sure you tune in for that one. That should be a cracker, hopefully a big upset on the cards for that one. We'll wait and see. But if you did enjoy it, before you go, if you could like and subscribe, it's 2 clicks of a button that take 2 seconds, and it's completely free, and it massively helps out the channel here. But that is going to be the end of the live commentary here from Wembley in this League Cup final in 2024. Chelsea came ever so close. They sent Liverpool all the way, but in the 118th minute, the deciding moment was played upon by Virgil van Dijk from a corner, rising the highest at the near post to head towards the far corner. It went into the back of the net. He had one disallowed in the second half of normal time. This one was not going to be taken away from him. Him himself as captain has led this Liverpool side to the League Cup in 2024. They win the competition for the second time under Klopp. They're going for all 4 trophies. They've ticked off one of them, But here at Wembley, it finishes after extra time. Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1.